want to encourage folks to go out and get their cars tuned up. Napa Ultimate Tune Up, they can earn up to $75 Visa gift card rebate deal by going and buying tune-up parts. Summertime's come, the gas prices are terrible. You'll pay for your tune-up in no time, so just by saving on fuel and fuel mileage. So anyhow, we want to talk about the Flyers and the Bruins playing this week there, don't we, buddy?
I know we don't want to talk about that because the city of brotherly love is going down in the NHL playoffs. The Flyers, no good. Bruins are going to win, and I get the last word to Wendy.
You want to bet?
Yes, I do.
Bob. Oh, goodness, that can go on forever. Okay, I'm with Casey Kane. Now, I enjoyed my off weekend for Easter. Casey, maybe not so much because you had to have surgery on that knee, but more importantly, when we got here today to Richmond, how did it feel in the race car?
It actually felt all right. It's the only thing is it swells up a little bit, so I keep ice on it, and I have Denny Hamlin let me use his Game Ready, which is compression and ice. So I'll use that after practice, use it again tomorrow morning, and it should be perfectly fine. It actually feels pretty good it feels better in the car than walking around.
Now, I just discovered that a fan has submitted a photo on your Red Bull car for the Coke 600. Fans could submit photos. I just found out from Amy, your PR rep, that somebody submitted a photo of myself, which is kind of scary. But tell fans what they could do for the Coke 600.
Well, it's a neat deal that Red Bull's doing with our car, and it's redbullracingusa.com. You can go there and you can submit a picture of your family, yourself, anything you want. And right now, and then your picture will go on the car. So it's going to be a pretty cool car. There's a lot of pictures already on it. I think we have the back and the trunk, maybe the roof full, and we just go to the hood next. So it's cool.
That is pretty cool. We'll have to check it out. Johnny, does that mean I could submit a photo of you?
Yeah, but I don't think you'd want to do that.
What?
I want to submit a photo of Jeff Hammond roping the goat. And the goat rope. How about that? We'll get on there.
I know one thing I want to do.
What's that?
I'm going to get you a map so you know where we are. Okay?
All right.
Okay.
Charlotte is south of Richmond.
Exactly.
Okay? I knew that. I never was too good at geometry anyway.
Or geography.
All right. Let's talk about this happy hour session coming up here for the Sprint Cup Series.
I think we're going to see a lot of guys right now getting ready to put their qualifying packages in because, during that first practice session, like a lot of teams worked on race setup. Now, this final 45 minutes, you better get this car ready to qualify. We know we're going to have a tight field, but starting up front is going to be a big, big plus if you want to go to victory lane this coming Saturday night.
You know what's a great thing about having a microphone and having the last word?
You get the last word.
You get the last word is a great thing. Hey, check out this picture of Jeff Hammond that we're going to put on the side of Casey Kane's car. Look at that, man.
I got bigger arms than that.
Where did that come from, man? I don't know. But we've been
a guy named Smith.
Stand by, everybody. We're going to go to break and come back with Sprint Cup Series Happy Hour. Stay with us.
Truth is, if you don't have your motorcycle insurance where you have your car insurance, you're paying too much. At Allstate, when you combine, you save up to 30%. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects the rider better than Allstate.
Fiber One Honey Cluster cereal. That's really good.
It tastes good, so there can't be fiber in it.
It's actually got about half a day's worth of fiber.
Really? Try it.
Honey, touch of brown sugar, crunchy clusters.
Any cardboard?
Cardboard, no. Delicious, yes. Relationships fail. Systems fail. Failure is part of life. Fram filters are tested beyond any conditions you'll ever encounter to help make sure failure is not part of your engine's life. Fram, don't fail your engine.
Only Polaris delivers the ultimate combination of power, suspension, and agility. The only trail-capable side-by-side, Ranger RZR. The only sport performance side-by-side, RZR S. The only four-seat sport, RZR 4, and the only extreme performance side-by-side, the 88 horsepower RZR XP. Razor sharp performance only from Polaris. Huge rebates and low financing are available right now during the Polaris XP sales event.
My feet are killing me.
Well, we're here to get you custom orthotic inserts.
Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotic Center recommends the custom fit orthotic that's best for your tired feet. Foot care scientists are behind it.
You'll get all-day relief.
And you could save a couple $100.
For locations, see drscholls.com.
Truth is, most motorcycle insurance costs about the same. What's not the same is the coverage. Now you can get the Allstate protection you need for a price you can afford. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects the rider better than Allstate.
Beaten and banging. Oh, under the lights, baby.
It's the nationwide race, live from Richmond.
DW, this is a big deal. I know, brother. That's why we're doing it.
You've never seen a NASCAR Nationwide Series race like you're gonna see it on Speed.
It's a rough and tumble brawl under the lights. Brought to you by the network who loves racing most.
It's gonna be fun. Don't miss it.
Live from Richmond, tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Presented by Nationwide. Brought to you exclusively on Speed.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sprint Cup Series Happy Hour. It is final practice, one last chance to tune up your race car before qualifying here, where 44 cars will go for 43 positions. Only one car will go home, but the one car that does get the pole position and the best pit selection will be in a good place historically, because over a fifth of the races here have been won from pole position. Now, one of the fastest cars in the earlier practice today was none other than that of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the number 88. He has been coming on strong as of late, climbing up in the points, and also now finds himself at one of his better racetracks, and that is here at the Richmond International Raceway, where he has won 3 times before. Let's take a look at the menu, and it is a busy one coming up today and tonight on Speed, as we got you covered all day long from the track that many people refer to as racing perfection. Sprint Cup Series final practice in a matter of moments, then NASCAR Live at 3:30. Nationwide Series qualifying. They will set their grid for tonight's race, which can be seen on Speed, by the way, at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Sprint Cup Series qualifying at 5:30. And then the hits just keep on coming. A special edition of Trackside, which will serve as the pre-race show for the Nationwide Series. Bubba Burger 250 at 7:30 p.m. We'll also feature Matt Kansas, Speed Center, and then another edition of Trackside comes your way at 10:30 Eastern Time. I want to bring back in our good friend Jeff Hammond. And Jeff, a lot has been said about Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the past, not doing as good as he's supposed to. Now that he is doing as well as he's supposed to, it's time for us to talk about that part of it too, in all fairness.
I like what he said during his interview. You know, he doesn't want to get too excited about what's going on until they get to that point. He understands that this is a long season, JR. And he's seen guys like even Tony Stewart, Denny Hamlin. They've had their struggles even in 2011 when they've been strong. All of a sudden they go cold. He knows how volatile it can be and how unpredictable it can be. So I like what he's saying, but I do like what I'm seeing. They're taking, good race cars, working on during the course of the race. I'm talking about Steve Letarte. He's communicating with Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're working on the car. It's getting better in the course of the race. They're getting good, solid finishes out of it, and that's where all of a sudden you find him in 3rd place in his points, and you've already talked about it. Come to Richmond, this is really a solid racetrack for him. He always runs well here. You've got to believe him being fast in that first practice, a big plus for 2 reasons. Number 1, confidence builder. Number 2, he gets an opportunity to go out later on today, and the later he gets here at Richmond, the cooler it's going to get, the faster the track will be. He should have an excellent chance of possibly backing it up and maybe sitting on the pole.
It is he, Tony Stewart, Jimmy Johnson with 3 victories that lead all active drivers here at Richmond. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, guys, if you speak about Dale Earnhardt Jr., I think you got to take a look at one particular thing. He talked about making that next step and maybe getting back to victory lane and so forth. But to do that, you have to qualify better than Dale Earnhardt Jr. has actually done this year. I've spoken to Steve Letarte about this, and he said that's our next step. We need to qualify well, and it was a good sign when he was number 1 in that previous practice session here today. They are hoping to back that up in this coming practice session. But if you throw away the restrictor plate races this year, there have been 6 races in which he has qualified outside the top 20. Now, he's finished all 6 of those races in the top 12, but just imagine where he could have finished if he qualified just that much better. And that's what they are working on here this weekend at Richmond, leading into qualifying a little bit later on today. It'll be a mock run late in this next session for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Wendy?
Bob, earlier on Speed, everyone has talked about this being the weekend where a lot of these drivers have to turn things around. We're getting closer and closer to that cutoff. One of those guys is Denny Hamlin. He comes into this weekend's race, won here at Richmond twice before, and he is on a roll this weekend so far. Of course, the Denny Hamlin charity race last night that he took home the top spot honors, and he said that definitely is giving him some momentum in the Cup car, even though it's completely unrelated. Earlier in practice, he was 13th in this race car, and when we come to this racetrack, he's led several laps, so over 1,100 laps, so he knows how to get the job done at this racetrack. If this is the weekend to turn things around for Denny Hamlin, this is the opportunity that he needs to seize and gain some serious points. He's deep in there, 17th right now, Johnny, in points.
Wendy, thanks a lot. You know, earlier today, Jimmy Johnson talked about a new short track car that they're working on. Jeff Hammond, what is new about it?
You never know, JR. They may be making them lighter, working on some of the geometry as far as the car cut through the center of the corner. But so far, when you look at what's happening with Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's been fast right off the truck. And this could be exactly what the doctor ordered. Everybody at Hendrick Motorsports coming up with a better combination to be able to be more competitive. And it's hard to believe he ran second at Martinsville. He's already running fast here at Richmond. So that it looks to me like this new short track car is working pretty good over there, at least in the 88 camp.
Well, as they work on their geometry, we'll work on our geography as we take a quick break here. We are moments away from Cup Series cars on the track here at Richmond for their final chance to tune up before qualifying this afternoon. Stay with us, everyone.
Bell helmets, mongoose elbow pads, a pillow pet, and cotton balls.
You're doing great. Guys, come on. She's not that bad of a driver.
Only Walmart has low prices every day on everything you need, backed by our ad match guarantee. Save money, live better. Walmart.
Introducing Good Hands Roadside from Allstate. It's free to join, and you don't have to be an Allstate customer to use it. Now, help is never far away.
Get the free to join, pay only when you use it roadside assistance. Register at allstate.com/roadside.
Experiments fail. Technologies fail. Failure is part of life. Fram filters are tested beyond any conditions you'll ever encounter to help make sure failure is not part of your engine's life. Fram, don't fail your engine.
On the road of life, there are many paths. The secret is not being afraid to pave your own. Star Motorcycles, we build it. You make it your own.
Somebody better keep me away from any Hamlin after this race.
Brad Keselowski did it this time last year under the lights at Richmond. He won the Nationwide Series race, the first of two at Richmond. See if he can do it again this year, except this time on speed. Live on speed tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time, NASCAR Nationwide Series Racing. Tune in. It is a show you don't want to miss. But right now we are focused on the Sprint Cup Series as they have one last shot at this track to get their car tuned in. And there's one of the more successful drivers recently at this track, that of Kyle Busch. And also let us not forget about the hometown hero, the hometown favorite, Denny Hamlin. And Jeff Gordon, not too bad on this track as also. Well, we're going to take a look. We're going to take a look now at what happened earlier today on the track in the first practice. Let's take a look at the 5 fastest, starting out with Ryan Newman. And you know what? Newman's is off to a very consistent start this year, Jeff. Might not be too long till we see him at a victory lane near you.
No, he is up there each and every week making solid runs. And so far, the Rocket Man is starting to find some speed in this 39 car. Good, solid effort right now by the Stewart-Haas crew.
If anyone wants to still say that Paul Menard is a fluke, they better check again. This guy is for real no matter where we're racing. He is fast, and that Richard Childress racing car is good.
It's just been the biggest surprise, I think, of 2011 so far is the 27 of Menard, because, again, each and every week he shows up and he puts his driver's helmet on and he makes it happen. They're doing a great job over there, that 27.
Well, it was after the bump heard round the racing world when Kyle Busch and Dale Earnhardt Jr. got into it. It was Clint Boyer running third that ended up winning here.
Well, this guy, I watched him when he unloaded this car this morning. It is fast. It was fast right off the truck. He's coming in here on a hot streak. Even though he hasn't been to victory lane, he could be right around the corner. He could be the guy you can be watching tomorrow night and lead this thing all the way to victory lane.
A force to be reckoned with not only this season, but ending last season as well. Carl Edwards in the number 99 team, second fastest in practice, so we better watch out for Carl Edwards when it comes to qualifying time and also race time.
We're running the same tire we had at Phoenix. He sat on the pole at Phoenix. He got caught up in a crash early on. this team, I know, would love to go to victory lane as far as a short track right now. This is one part of their program they've been needing to pick up. So far, he's looking pretty strong.
Well, he led the charge for the Fords. Leading the charge for every manufacturer was Dale Earnhardt Jr., fastest in practice. And you know what, Jeff? He keeps getting closer and closer. If you're there at the end of every race, you're eventually going to win one.
You keep knocking on the door, eventually you'll get through it. And that's what he's been trying to say all along. I don't want to get excited till I get an opportunity to put that checkered flag in my hand. And I don't mean the one that Jimmy Johnson gave me at Talladega. I want to earn it on my own and go to victory lane. He and Steve Letarte are so close they can both taste it.
And such a different beast here at Richmond than at Talladega in the way of racing and what we're going to see. Dale Earnhardt Jr. was fastest, so therefore these 10 guys will have the best qualifying. As of right now, these guys will have the best qualifying draw.
That's going to be a big advantage as far as the end of this thing. We get ready to line up for qualifying. The cooler this racetrack gets, the better chance you got getting that coveted #1 position and picking the best pit down here on the end of pit road.
Under new NASCAR rules this year, the slowest 10 go out first from practice. The fastest 10 in practice will go out last, and that will be a big advantage here when it comes qualifying time a little later on. And you can see that on speed as well. Right now, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Mike Joy and company will have Sprint Cup Series final practice.
As a fan of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, I want to get as close to the action as I can get. One way to do that is to use the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app for my HTC Evo 4G. Another way is to hide in the back of Carl Edwards' car. Woo-hoo! Yeah, Carl! Whoa, we're getting ramped!
Fuel your fan with NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile on the HTC Evo 4G. Only from Sprint, the Now Network.
This is not as safe as I initially planned.
Welcome back to Geico Radio. It's savings on the radio.
Cooler Steve. Go right ahead.
Yeah, I just got a free rate quote on Geico.com. Saved a ton, and it only took me 5 minutes and 12 seconds. I was wondering, is that some sort of record?
That's a good question. Let's have a look.
Not quite. Someone's got you beat by 8 seconds.
Still, I mean, that's quite fast.
Well, what if I told you I only use one hand?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Is your computer running slowly?
Most Bay Area consumers will travel less than 25 miles for key purchases. So why advertise in San Jose when your business and customers are in Marin? At Comcast Spotlight, you can advertise your business in the specific zones where your customers live and work. Plus, choose from over 50 of the most popular cable networks to deliver your message directly to your target audience. Call now to advertise your business on Comcast Cable. Call 888-SPOT-TV1 or visit us online.
Let me tell you some of the reasons people get into trouble with credit cards. A job loss or salary cut, an unexpected expense, a divorce. As founder of Consolidated Credit, I understand that credit card problems are not about overspending. It's about emergencies and unexpected situations. There's a lot of ways to get into trouble with debt. There's only one trusted way to get out. Consolidated Credit.
Call Consolidated Credit now.
Call toll-free 1-800-435-8710.
You are looking live at the fastest driver in opening practice for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series today. And the second fastest driver in that practice is right there. Driver of the fastest Ford, leader of the points as we come into Richmond. And things are lined up for final practice. The temperature has edged its way past the 70-degree mark. Light breeze, mostly sun, few high clouds. Nothing like yesterday's weather, thank goodness. We're auditioning singers for our show today. We tried Jeff Hammond, Darrell Waltrip. Darrell Waltrip was the long reliever. And so
was Darrell singing?
No, we wouldn't let him sing.
Yeah,
but
I've seen him try to sing.
Mike and I are beginning to get this complex. Every time we look over there, there's a different person.
guy.
I'm sorry.
But you are wearing the right shirt. Kyle
I do have the right shirt on.
Practice. DW has nationwide race duty tonight, along with his brother Michael and Rick Allen. So Kyle kind enough to sit in for final practice. Now, in opening practice, everybody set those quick laps right off the bat when the track was cool, when the ambient was cool, and now the sun's had a chance to beat down. But we're late in the day, final practice. Are we going to see much changes in this timesheet to determine who qualifies where?
I don't think so. And Larry could probably speak to it better than I could. But this racetrack has heat sensitive, and it goes through that phase where it gets slow and then it'll pick back up as it gets dark again. So I don't think that as we go into the afternoon practice, more rubber on the racetrack from the Nationwide cars, now more rubber from the first practice here. So I think it'll continue to get slower, and guys will be focused on race stuff.
All right, so what are you working on?
Well, I do think that most of the teams in that 2-hour practice, they did focus a lot on race stuff. We saw a mixed bag of agendas there. We saw some teams try to get that quick lap in right off the bat, like Dale Earnhardt Jr. Then they went to race trim. But I do believe teams like maybe Jimmy Johnson and the 48 team and Chad Canals, I don't think they made any practice qualifying runs. This is only a 45-minute session, but to add to all the elements you talked about, this racetrack has set for 45 minutes, and the oils and everything just bleeds up through it. I'm like Kyle. I think it's going to be hard to better that 21:52 that we saw by Dale Earnhardt Jr. earlier.
But they'll prove us wrong.
In large part due to that 45-minute shake and bake that the track has gone through. All right. Dick Berggren on the man who was fastest in first round of practice.
And that's Dale Earnhardt Jr. And week after week, his fans think he is finally going to break into the win column. It is now 101 races since Dale Earnhardt Jr. has won a point-paying NASCAR Sprint Cup event. And this is another good place for him, with 3 wins at Richmond Speedway. And fastest man in the first practice, strategy for the second practice, race runs first, and then he's going to try to go even faster than he did in the first practice. To Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Clint Boyer, one of the fastest in first practice, might be one of the fastest or hottest drivers in the sport. 4 straight finishes in the top 10, including second in the last 2 races. What do you work on in this practice?
Miss Coors Light, qualifying trim.
Working on this.
Speed, we need some speed. That way we can get a picture taken with Miss Coors Light. But no, the BB&T Chevrolet is pretty good. It's hard to try to figure out where you need to be. Whether you need to be in race trim or qualifying trim right now, with you don't have much time, but same for everybody. Just try to make the best with what you got time-wise.
All right, go to work, buddy.
All right, the fastest lap in the first session, Dale Earnhardt Jr., 21:52. The fastest lap in this session, Kevin Harvick, 21:53.
And what did we say? We put an asterisk by it. We said they'll prove us wrong no matter what. But Clint and those guys, you listen to them. These guys will eventually work their way back to a qualifying setup for the end of practice, so at least the drivers know when they go out to make that qualifying run what their car feels like.
Jeff Burton, 4th fastest. And just like the first session, 4 Chevys and a Ford in the top 5. This time the Ford, Matt Kenseth, rather than Carl Edwards, who has not yet been on track.
Talked about Jimmy Johnson at the top of the show. Chad Canals, they stayed totally in race trim in that first practice session. I get a feeling that they have made the swap over to qualifying trim of this 48 car.
Well, Harvick's 53 is 4/10 better than anybody else in the opening couple of minutes of this session. Jeff Gordon's best lap, 22:11.
But I do look at Jimmy Johnson. He's already run 5 laps, which tells me they are not in qualifying trim just yet. They're still in race trim.
A lot of different agendas. Mark Martin, 3rd quickest. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 2nd fastest. All the Hendrick cars out logging laps early in this session. And for Joe Gibbs Racing, Denny Hamlin, who won his own charity race here last night. 22:10, his best of 7 laps so far.
I mean, I think there was no question that from the time Denny Hamlin broke in the Sprint Cup Series, he probably put more emphasis on winning here at this racetrack than he did anywhere. It's his home track from nearby Chesterfield, Virginia. And Dick Berggren talked about it in the first practice. 5 years old, sat in the grandstands here and watched Sprint Cup Series races.
I read on Twitter where it was pretty cool that Elliott was in his race last night, because it said that was the driver that he pulled for when he was young. Sometimes he pulled for Bill Elliott. and then have Bill Elliott in your race, in your charity race, is a pretty cool thing when you look at it. To think that he sat here in the grandstands and watched Bill race and watched guys like that, and now he's part of it.
Wonder how he felt racing against Bill Elliott and Bill Elliott's son last night.
Yeah,
Chase Elliott.
And Chase did a really good job. I just saw the rundown where he finished third. He must have done a really good job. But that's the funny part. You know, when I started driving 100 years ago, racing with Baker and Pearson and those guys, they're like, we remember when we kicked your butt around the garage area, and now you're out here with us. And they always looked at you as being the little guy, you know what I mean, being the young guy.
That's neat. Steve Burns.
Well, Mike, Jeff Gordon does not like his race car right now. Just told the crew that I feel like the splitter's hitting the racetrack. He said it just will not turn in the middle at all. He said the first lap it took off, ran great, but after one lap it just would not turn at all. Dick?
Well, Jimmy Johnson, in fact, has already run his qualifying setup in the car. Disappointing results for that. And I just talked to his car chief, Ron Malik, who said that he doesn't expect in this practice session that they're going to do anything other than race runs. A big surprise.
Wow. Yeah, he's on a long run right now. This is from his first time he went out. He's still out there. He's run a total of 12 laps so far.
3 of the fast 5 right now were on apparent qualifying runs because they only ran 2 or 3 laps. That would be Harvick, his teammate Jeff Burton, and 5th place Marcus Ambrose.
One of the most exciting nights in all of motorsports.
It's a good night to get even with somebody.
The NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, Saturday, May 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
Bush, let's do this. Let's do this.
That's how you do a donut.
They want you to come to the conference room. Jeff, come to the conference room.
Okay. What would you do with your favorite driver? Enter your design at ToyotaRacing.com.
I'm back in the saddle again. Out where a friend is a friend.
Where the longhorn cattle feed on the lonely Jimson weed.
Back in the saddle again. See how affordable an RV vacation can be. Visit GoRVing.com and watch a free video. Go affordably. Go RVing.
What are you doing, Bob?
I finally figured out how to get my lawnmower to sense precisely the speed I want to walk. It's going to be effortless. You see, it can read my mind.
Oh. Why don't you just get one of these?
Toro Personal Pace Technology. Mowing has never been easier. Visit a Toro retailer or Toro.com to learn more.
Speed's presentation of NASCAR Sprint Cup final practice from Richmond, presented by Gander Mountain. Don't be that guy. Gear up. At Gander Mountain, we live outdoors. And brought to you by Sprint, proud sponsor of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. And by Fram. Fram filters help make sure failure is not a part of your engine's life. Don't fail your engine, use Fram. Carl Edwards rolling out to make his first run of this session. Kevin Harvick quickest, and David Rudiman has just put the second fastest number up on the board. Marcus Ambrose making notes.
Yeah.
On the dash.
Is that his brake bias? What do you think that is?
That's what I'm.
I mean, he marked in a place like so he knew where he was at. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not where the brake bias is. The knob's not there, but maybe that's where the diagram is, and maybe he put a mark about where he's adjusted it. You know, and you can adjust the bias front and rear.
And Larry talks about drivers. There's nothing worse as a driver to start adjusting that thing and then forget where you're at. And you don't know whether you're forward to the front or forward to the rear, so you don't know which way to go. And, you know, talking about Jeff a minute ago, Jeff talking about his splitter hitting the racetrack. At this racetrack for you as a crew chief, which was the hardest end? Because they're two totally separate ends. You know, and a driver will complain about being tight in the middle of 1 and 2 or not turning and then free up off because it'll unload itself or can't get into 3 and 4. Which corner was harder for you guys to work on?
Probably turn 1 and 2. You're carrying so much more speed getting into turn 1, and then you're trying to get that car to turn, and then of course you lose the back of the car on the exit.
Hey, hold the phone. David Gilliland just ripped off the 6th fastest lap of practice. Wow.
That is a good lap for him at a 21.97.
That's a great lap.
It is.
Had a great run at Talladega. Another top 10 finish for this group.
They're gaining on it.
Yeah, and their restrictor plate stuff is good. I mean, you know, they can push, they can be pushed. It doesn't make any difference. Daytona, you know, obviously had a great run there, but then you go to Talladega and they've got their stuff together there. They just got to fill in the gaps between them.
Bobby Labonte, 22nd right now in the Kingsford car. And Brian Vickers, 21st on the board. After 10 laps, Labonte had just begun his run.
Now, Brian is our track record holder here. It has been a track record since May of 2004. Possibly that track record will be safe at a 2077.
You would think, from what we've seen so far, you would think it would be safe.
Well, the mock qualifying runs are coming out. Bobby Labonte just jumped to 3rd. David Reagan to 5th, and Reagan's been replaced by Carl Edwards in the top 5 now. As, let's see, 9 drivers, now 10, have toured the track in less than 22 seconds.
Yeah, you have to read them fast now because they're changing in a hurry. That's a good lap Kevin Harvick laid down right out of the box.
Oh boy, J.J. Yaley. Yep, way too much smoke. That's going to put us under caution. JJ is one of those who has to time his way into the field, and he has been in the bottom 3 on the speed chart both practices.
This happened to them a few races ago in practice before qualifying. I think it may have been at Auto Club Speedway.
Like you broke a rod or something?
Ouch. All right, yellow is out. They'll inspect the track and reopen for practice as J.J. Yaley goes up in smoke.
He retired at the top of his game.
I didn't want them to remember me as a has-been.
And became one of the first true voices of racing.
Can you make it from here on?
Don't miss the NASCAR Hall of Fame biography of Ned Jarrett, Saturday at 2:30 Eastern, only on Speed.
Hi, this other store has these for 20 cents less. What?
Match it.
Match it. Match it.
Match it.
Match it.
Match it.
20 cents less. What? Just match it.
Match it.
Match it. Match it. Match it. Match it. Match it.
Match it.
Match it.
Match it. Thank you. Got it. I'll match that price right here. Oh, cool.
We won't be beat. We have low prices every day on everything, backed by our ad match guarantee. Save money. Live better. Walmart.
The Ring brothers know a thing or two about performance, and they've got the trophies to prove it.
We use Royal Purple in all our vehicles.
From our daily drivers to these classic show cars.
Royal Purple, the performance oil that outperforms.
Relationships fail. Systems fail. Failure is part of life. Fram filters are tested beyond any conditions you'll ever encounter to help make sure failure is not part of your engine's life. Fram, don't fail your engine.
Once Dave and his friends experienced the bone-rattling intensity of NASCAR, they knew it was time to reconfigure his surround sound.
All right, guys, here it comes.
15,000 watts later, they realized that if everything was more like NASCAR, everything would be more awesome.
And tomorrow, one of the few remaining chances for your favorite driver to qualify for the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race. Richmond, Darlington, Dover. And here's Dick Berggren.
With Carl Edwards, and I was listening to your spotter, Jason Hedlewski, just before J.J. Yaley blew up. What did he tell you in the car?
He told me, watch out. They're
he's blowing up in turn 3 and 4, and that's how important a spotter is. I'm lucky to have Jason Hedleski. He's a race car driver, so he kind of knows what you're thinking. And I saw a little hint of smoke, but you're out there on your qualifying run, you're running as hard as you can. You don't want to back down for something, so we really rely on the spotters, and Jason did a good job. There was a little oil down there. I slid in it, and I was glad he said something.
Now, we're surprised that you're doing this entire practice session with qualifying runs. After all, you ran so fast in that first practice. What's the point? Why are you doing this?
Well, we want to qualify well. A good qualifying position here is very important. Our Scott's Easy Seat Fusion's pretty fast, but you don't want to have to pass all those guys. You want to get a good pit stall. You want to start up front. We've had a lot of success starting up front here, so I think Bob's making the right call, and we've got to pick up a little speed, so we might need this whole session anyway.
All right, no race runs, just mock qualifying runs for Carl Edwards in this session.
Well, that's because almost 90% of the races here have been won from a top 10 start. Tonight, you've not seen a NASCAR Nationwide race like you'll see it tonight on Speed. DW and Michael Walter bring you the action live from Richmond. Exclusive coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series race begins tonight on Speed, 7:30 Eastern.
Is there somebody else in the booth with them?
Rick Allen.
Yeah, thank goodness. Thank goodness. I can't imagine them two in the booth just talking all the time. There's got to be somebody directed to that. He said something, Carl said something interesting, and Larry can probably add to this. When they first started using spotters didn't watch their own car. They watched way ahead of the car, looking for accidents, looking for somebody to blow engines, looking for trouble. You never watched the race. You had to watch a half a track ahead. Spotters have just evolved into what they are now. Is that true?
A spotter used to be the brother-in-law or cousin.
Yeah, exactly.
Put him on top of the tractor and trailer. If you see smoke or fire, say caution's out.
Other than that, stay off the radio.
And then we started just using them race day only. Yes. And then actually NASCAR a few years ago made it mandatory, other than qualifying, when the Cup cars or any of the cars or trucks are on the track, spotters on top of the grandstand.
Yeah, and as Carl said, it shows how important they are even in practice.
Sure.
You don't need to be on a racetrack without somebody helping you.
His spotter, Jason, has one Cup start. I think he's one of the 900 fellows who've driven for Richmond's Junie Donlevy. He has one Nationwide Series start and 57 starts in ARCA.
Montoya, he found a little speed in his 42 car. He jumps up to 5th quickest at a 21.91.
Steve.
Mike, Tony Stewart's just heading back out on the racetrack. He came in when a caution came out and he said, hey, you guys aren't going to believe this, but I think we actually helped the forward bite. He went on to say we're just a little bit too loose on entry, but they're making progress on the 14.
That's good news. He is 29th, though, right now on the chart.
I'm going to ask Larry another question here. This is a racetrack, as a driver, you go to where you can change the way you drive to help the car around the racetrack. Just as Larry said, 1 and 2 is a hard corner. 1 will lull you to sleep thinking you can drive all the way into the corner. And then you overrun the front tires, and the front tires will skate up, and you just scream at the crew chief, push, 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 help me. And if you'll back it up 2 car lengths, the car will get down in the corner. And this is one of those places that you kind of, as a driver, have to say, okay, I'm on new tires, I can go. I'm on old tires, I've got to change where I pick up the throttle, where I get on the brakes, and where I roll.
And then quite honestly, as we get ready for qualifying, I think as a crew chief, you've got to sell that driver. It's going to have a lot more grip now than what we had in practice. You become quite the salesman.
How many times, and we'll see it, I'm sure we'll see it at some point in time during the qualifying show this evening, where a driver will say, I didn't think it was going to stick that good, I could have got more out of it. And that's the whole point, is you've got to be able to trust in what the car is going to do. And sometimes you just can't make yourself trust that if I drive down past that white line, that this thing's going to stick.
You'll love this story. We sat on the pole here with Mike Skinner in the 31 car. It was either 99 or 2000. We spent the last 30 minutes of practice tuning with the Revlinger chip, because if we'd have pulled that chip out, Skinner would have drove to Chesterfield.
I believe that.
Kevin Harvick and his teammate Clint Boyer are fastest. We're almost halfway through this session.
Beaten and banging. You've never seen a NASCAR Nationwide Series race like you're going to see it on Speed.
Live from Richmond, tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Presented by Nationwide. Brought to you exclusively on Speed.
Look outside. It's grow time. So let's plant some perennials that'll turn up every year. trees and shrubs to give us depth, and fill it out with flowers placed in just the perfect place. Let's spend less, but plant more. What do you say we plant a weekend, water it, and watch a summer spring up? More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. We're lowering the cost of putting down some roots. Get 1 gallon perennials 3 for just $10.
I am a non-attorney spokesperson.
I heard Alan got hurt on his bike.
Yeah, man, he got cut off by a car.
Is he all right?
No, he went down really hard.
Man, is he going to court?
Yeah, he's got to, man. He's got to pay those bills, find somebody to take care of him.
And how's he going to find the right lawyer who handles motorcycles?
Transmission shot. It's going to be at least $3,000.
$3,000, but we don't have $3,000. What are we going to do?
Don't worry, Mom. Dad got us coverage through 5-Star.
With 5-Star, you're covered. Mechanical and electrical. All parts and labor at any repair shop or dealer nationwide. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental car, too. Repair shop gets paid directly. No reimbursement necessary. If you have less than 130,000 miles, call now for special savings. 800-268-3892.
Also, man, I think it might have helped it. It didn't really hurt the exit that bad. It's hard to say, but we have time to talk about it tonight. I don't think it's worse at all. Right, yeah. It's hard to say. It might be getting to the territory of having so much delta that it's not enough wedge on exit. Maybe we can go halfway. Leave that for now, guys. Let's go. We got to change the tires here.
You heard Steve Letarte talking to his driver, Dale Earnhardt Jr.
You know, I don't want to throw off on any of Dale Earnhardt's crew chiefs from the past, but that conversation right there, that's just not a conversation we would have heard with Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his crew chief. And the thing I picked up on, Steve Letarte said we'll talk about it tonight. You know why? These guys will spend time together tonight, probably having dinner and going over all their notes, getting ready to race tomorrow.
You know, watching Junior from the time he and Stevie have worked together, the one thing that Stevie gives him, I think, more than anything else, is confidence. It's not got anything to do with the race car. It's not got anything to do with that. It's, I believe in you. Let's go do this, buddy. Let's get this thing done. We'll talk about it. We'll work on it. And I don't think that's something, that camaraderie that he's had with other crew chiefs. Not, just as you say, not to knock off on or say anything bad about the other guys, but for whatever reason, these guys seem to have meshed and gelled a little bit quick.
There's an encouragement factor that's there, and like you say, a mutual confidence and respect that's working for them. And believe me, nobody puts more pressure on Dale Earnhardt Jr. than Dale Earnhardt Jr.
Exactly, and that's the thing. You know, the fans project all their hopes and dreams and expectations onto that kid. He's like a movie screen. They want him to be what they want him to be. Junior just needs to focus on driving the race car, and I think Stevie allows him to say, look, bud, all you got to do is drive this race car. We don't care about anything else. Right. And I think that gives Junior confidence that he can go out and say, yeah, this is all I got to worry about, just drive it.
Dick Berggren?
Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jimmy Johnson, Mike, are using the same strategy in this practice session. Years ago, I caught Ray Evernham at Michigan during a practice trying 2 fresh tires, not 4. And I asked him, if you get ready for the race tomorrow, you thinking about 2 tires? And he just looked at me and snarled. Well, that's what the 48 and the 88, Johnson and Earnhardt, are doing right now. 2 fresh tires, 2 worn tires. Let's see how they go. Watch for 2 tire changes from this team tomorrow night.
Well, that kind of explains Dale Jr.'s comments that we heard.
And the reason I find that interesting, and I started shaking my head when Dick was talking about that, we have watched all year long that Darian Grubb and Tony Gibson, the 2 crew chiefs for Stewart-Haas, they are not afraid of rolling the dice and trying just 2 tires in a race. Tony Gibson told me, maybe unannounced to a lot of people, they try it in practice. They already have a little bit of a feel for what just changing right side tires will do.
Kevin Harvick, fastest in this session, and maybe not the quickest on the racetrack right now at this point in this practice, where the quick cars are running 2180s and he's at 2220 as he works his way past Kurt Busch. Martin Truex Jr. up into the top 5 as we go to Steve.
Well, Mike, I overheard Kyle Petty talking in commercial about how sometimes the harder a driver tries, the slower he makes the car. Was curious what Kyle thinks about the feedback from David Reagan. David Reagan telling his crew the balance is good. If I could get back to the throttle quicker, it would be better. And he says, I have a little front tire chatter.
And a lot of times that front tire chatter is because you drive deep into the corner and the thing chatters up the racetrack. And you have to wait on it. If you back up 20 yards, that thing will roll, it won't overrun the front tires, and you can get back to the throttle quicker. This short track, and especially this place, is a series of compromises.
Really
on new
about
tires,
the same there. I mean, I guess that was probably a plus, a couple more laps on tires and all, but you know, just ever so slightly chatters that right front tire a little bit. Roll in the center. The faster I try to roll, it chatters just a little, and then the last lap, not so much the first lap, but the Monday lap, I just have to crack the throttle just ever so slightly, real early late exit, so nothing special there.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. The faster he tries to roll the center, the more is chatter in the front, which means he's overrunning the tires. He does it more on the second lap because the tires have more heat in them and they don't grip as well. And that's just the way it is. So you've got to be able to compromise, and that driver has to find that line where he rolls out and how far he drags that brake in when he gets back to the gas.
A, B, C, D, can I bring my friend to tea? Pink, brown, yellow, orange, and blue, I
love you. Unlimited is good. And thanks to Sprint, you can talk, text, and post as much as you want for no extra cost. So go ahead, world, unlimit yourself. Sprint, America's favorite 4G network.
Just don't cheat this time.
Gotta let that go.
The men we're after are professional criminals.
We're talking about $100 million.
I love what I do.
Here we go.
Fast and Furious 5, rated PG-13, in theaters and IMAX now.
Keeping your pride and joy perfect is as easy as 1, 2, 3. Start with Slick Mist Speed Wax. Simply mist on and wipe off for a professional detail or shine. For your tires and trim, there's Lucas Slick Mist Tire and Trim Shine. Spray on and wipe off for better than new look. Then finish her with Lucas Slick Mist Interior Detailer. Just spray and wipe. Easy. Use Lucas Slick Mist Car Care products and she'll never look better. Fast, easy, and professional. Really, it's sort of like having an extra set of hands. Or 3.
From groundbreaking motocross technology to a leader in ATV innovation to #1 in MotoGP and #1 in sport ATVs, Yamaha is the first name in motorsports. Be the first to get into your Yamaha dealer for a great deal. Then get out and ride.
Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Fastest lap, Kevin Harvick, 21.539. Just 1/100th slower than the fastest lap of the first session. For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile is at sprint.com/speed. Steve?
Mike, just to follow up on Jeff Gordon, remember the beginning of practice, Jeff said, I just can't turn this thing at all. Well, he just said it's better in the center, but now we're hurting the entry and the exit. So they've robbed Peter to pay Paul. They're going to change, or in the process of changing a right rear shock.
And then DW and I talked about that in the first practice. You're always looking for that compromise, because if you get the car turning and rotating through the middle of the corner, normally you especially hurt the exit by being too loose off. Sounds like they actually have Jeff Gordon too loose getting in the corner now.
We talked earlier about David Gilliland's great lap. That's now fallen to 14th, but it's still way up in the top third of the field here. Joey Logano 32nd, looking for some speed. Andy Lally in the top 15, 13th fastest, and that was a car, the 71, that struggled mightily, was at the bottom of the chart throughout the entire first practice session. Now he finds himself in the top 15.
And this will be his first Cup start here at Richmond.
Is
Kyle Busch 24th.
You know, looking at the time series stuff, McMurray's all the way back in 43rd. How many laps has he run?
6.
6 laps.
And they were searching for speed.
He goes out right here.
And improving on the stopwatch throughout the first 2 hours.
Yeah.
Earlier today.
Tell what's interesting about the Andy Lally deal and a few others. A.J. Allmendinger got a top 5 here last year. Marcus Ambrose got a top 5, in fact 2 top 10s here last year. Fellows that came out of road racing, Kyle, for one, I don't know why, seem to do really well at this racetrack or be able to run well here.
But I think it's got a lot to do with, this is a place, and road racing, and look, when I first learned to road race, they taught you a thing called trail braking, where you would hit the brakes and then drag the brakes in the corner and drive the car with the brake and the accelerator almost at the same time. And you know, I think Juan adapted to short track racing really quick, and these guys adapt to short track racing because they use that technique of braking straight, dragging the brake and carrying speed through the middle of the corner, and then working on exit, because that's what road racers do. They brake getting into the corner, accelerate up off the corner. Where if you learn to short track race at your local short track, the point is drive as deep as you can.
Right.
Stand on the brakes, snatch that thing around and turn it. So they have a little bit different technique coming from road racing, and it transferred to these shorter tracks, I think.
Yeah, and you're right. That idea of backing up the corner that's part of road racing. That's easy there.
It is.
It's race time at Walmart. From official gear to snacks for race day, you'll find everything you need. Gear up, stock up, save. Carl Edwards jumps into the top 5, joining Harvick, Rudiman, Truex, and Boyer. Montoya up into the top 10. And Kyle trying to improve on what is now 27th position. He's run 17 laps now. Jamie McMurray up to 7th. Paul Menard to 8th.
That's a big improvement for that one team in McMurray, especially from that first practice earlier.
So a lot of changes, things bouncing around within the top 5 and the top 10 with 15 minutes to go in final practice.
Speed revs up in Richmond for live nationwide and Sprint Cup qualifying and a special nationwide pre-race edition of NASCAR Trackside.
The energy's up. The energy's wild.
It all begins today with nationwide qualifying at 4 Eastern on Speed.
Welcome back to Geico Radio. It's savings on the radio.
Hello, George and Linda.
Hello, Mr. Gecko.
So we're such huge fans
of yours, and would be really honored
if you would marry us.
Me?
Yeah, you just seem so smart and so
British sounding.
I'm not really qualified to speak on matters of the heart. Look, I'll tell you this. When you insure more than one car with Geico, you could save even more with our multi-car discount.
I now pronounce you thrifty.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams from Money.
If you are a diabetic and concerned about maintaining your healthy blood glucose levels, please stay tuned to this important message. A market trial offer is starting now for a revolutionary breakthrough in natural blood sugar management called glycosine, and you are eligible to try it free for 30 days. We are looking for 200 callers to receive a limited 30-day trial, so call immediately. 888-222-4250. The ups and downs you experience from naturally fluctuating blood sugar levels can be frustrating. Clinical studies of the key ingredients in glycosine have shown these ingredients to be effective in supporting healthy glucose metabolism. And now this new formula is being released to the general public. Your area has been selected to try it right now for free. The first 200 callers are guaranteed participation in the trial. Call immediately to find out how to receive your free 30-day trial. 888-222-4250. 888-222-4250. If the line is busy, please keep trying.
Coverage of NASCAR Sprint Cup final practice at Richmond, presented by Gander Mountain. Don't be that guy. Gear up at Gander Mountain. We live outdoors. And brought to you by Johnsonville. Sausage is all we do. And by Toyota. Kevin Harvick is quickest. Juan Montoya has gone to the second spot on the board, ahead of Rudiman, Edwards, and Truex the past 5. Boyer, Labonte, McMurray, Menard, and Earnhardt the top 10.
The amazing thing, though, about Kevin Harvick's lap that he turned right at the beginning of this practice, that's 2.5 tenths quicker than Montoya, who is second right now.
Oh, it was a blistering lap, and it is only 100th off of what Dale Jr. ran in the first practice. So if they had to line up for qualifying right now, Earnhardt would go out 35th, and based on the first practice, Earnhardt 34th based on the second practice. And here comes Hamlin trying to get on to the left side of the board. He's in 29th at a 22:10.
You know, Kyle, we were talking at the top of the first show. Even though we've got a lot of racing going on right now, and here's David Stremme for this brand new team in the 30 car, just jumped up the 14th quickest, becomes by far the fastest of the go or go homers. But back to Denny Hamlin. Darrell and Mike and I were talking. We feel like this is a pretty pivotal race for Denny Hamlin, because if they don't get their act together here, not sure it's obtainable right now.
Yeah, and I believe that. Doing race day and doing the other shows on Speed, we've talked about this. Going into Martinsville, a place where he has confidence, he's run good in the past, coming out of there with not a good finish, and then going to Texas, a place where he run good, and coming out of there with not a good finish. You know how it is, Larry, as a team. When you look forward and you put check marks beside certain racetracks, and then you go there and you don't run good, it's demoralizing. It kills your confidence worse. So coming to a place like Richmond, where he expects to do good, you've got to do good here, and especially at this point in time in the season. If he doesn't, that's just another thing to knock a leg out from under your table for you. You know what I mean? It just kind of shakes you to your core a little bit to say, where are we wrong? What are we doing wrong? How do we get back on track?
Clint Boyer up to second. David Gilliland back up into the top 10. You saw a moment ago in 9th. Carl Edwards up to 5th. Harvick and Boyer separated now by just 17 100ths of a second. Paul Menard in the top 10 as well. Oh, not anymore. David Reagan jumps to 9th. Knocks Menard out of the top 10. About 10 minutes to go in this session. And it will be a combination of first and second practice times that will determine the qualifying order, and you will see qualifying later today live on Speed. Regan Smith has had quite a qualifying record this year, but he is currently 20th, going out for his second try at a mock qualifying run. 21.98 his best lap.
We just watched David Reagan in that 6 on his second lap. He jumped up the 3rd quickest on that mock qualifying run. And how about Regan Smith? We can't change the graphic fast enough. He jumps up the 6th quickest in this 78 car.
Ambrose to 7th, and the fastest man in this session is in the garage. Dick?
Well, ordinarily you hear from drivers during practice about the behavior of their car handling, but Kevin Harvick just told his crew that the hood doesn't match up with the cowl, and the hood is popping up. Go ahead, fix that one.
If you are complaining about the hood popping up at Richmond, life is pretty good.
Pretty dang good. Pretty dang good.
Regan Smith jumps to second on his second lap. So the Fast Five are Harvick, Smith, Boyer, Reagan, and Montoya.
Here's a myth. You get nothing for driving safely. Truth? At Allstate, you get a check in the mail twice a year, every year. You don't have an accident. The Safe Driving Bonus Check. Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you like Allstate.
Bell helmets, mongoose elbow pads, a pillow pet, and cotton balls.
You're doing great. Guys, come on. She's not that bad of a driver.
Only Walmart has low prices every day on everything you need, backed by our ad match guarantee. Save money, live better. Walmart.
Experiments fail. Technologies fail. Failure is part of life. Fram filters are tested beyond any conditions you'll ever encounter to help make sure failure is not part of your engine's life. Fram, don't fail your engine.
They're moms, dads, veterans, coaches. They're part of your community. They live on your street. They employ your neighbors. They're America's 12,000 Allstate agents. They live near you, they know what you need, and they're there to help protect you, to put you in good hands.
Somebody better keep me away from any anyone after this race.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
Sprint brings you an inside look at what's happening now inside the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Your point leader, Carl Edwards, is now second fastest to Kevin Harvick in this session. Then Regan Smith, Clint Boyer, and Jamie McMurray now fifth. For more NASCAR stats and live race radio and more, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile, sprint.com/speed. Kyle Busch trying to move over to the left side of the board. He is 32nd. That would mean an early qualifying run for Kyle unless he can pick up from his 22:07. .22:10 on that lap, or excuse me, 22:44. Jeff Gordon also trying to move over to the left side of the board as Montoya takes the top spot away from Kevin Harvick. Still not faster than Dale Jr. in the first practice.
Good call, Larry Mack.
All we have to do is dodge the bullet for 4 more minutes.
That's it.
You guys are hanging on that 21:52 of Junior.
Yes,
How
we
about
are.
Montoya? 21:53 with an 8. Harvick 21:53 with a 9. 1/1000th different. You got 4 more minutes
to dodge that bullet.
That's right. To hang on to that prediction that this practice would not be faster than the opening 2 hours of practice.
We didn't anticipate the clouds rolling in.
Larry, we've caught a cloud. The track has caught a cloud.
Help us a little bit
I think
here.
you're in trouble. Will Jimmy Johnson be the one to do it? 21:87 for Jimmy.
Someone else that popped to that top 10, I don't know if you mentioned it, Mike, Tony Stewart in the 14 car jumped up there. He's 8th quickest right now.
Casey Kane 21st. No improvement there. Tick-tock, 3 minutes. David Rudiman is in the top 10. 10th quickest right now.
And Rudiman's had some good runs up here. I mean, he's one of those guys that came to this racetrack and just was like, if you look back, there's guys that run racetracks for the first time. Terry Labonte went to Darlington, loved it right off the bat. Rudiman come here and just fell in love with this racetrack, it seems like, because he runs that way.
David Rudiman's a little bit like Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin. They need a good run.
Yes, they do.
Somewhere.
Kurt Busch 32nd, and he will jump up a ways. No, 22:60. He does not. A.J. Allmendinger in the top 10. He goes to 9th. Jeff Burton up to 6th in the closing minutes of this practice. Allmendinger 9th fastest. Another one of those road racers.
Yeah, it's all Fords and Chevrolets in the top 10. David Rudiman, the fastest Toyota. Now Brad Keselowski, who was quick in that first practice in that Dodge, he jumps up to 6th quickest.
Denny Hamlin stuck in 40th place right now. McMurray to 8th, pushes Allmendinger down to 10th. Fastest score go homer, Mike Skinner in 15th. He has 2 Sprint Cup poles here at Richmond. As we look at Ryan Newman, who is 18th on the chart. He just ran his fastest lap of the session, 18th quickest. Up, jumps to 8th on his second lap with a 21:73. Newman now 8th. Menard 17th. Minute and a half to go. You guys are hanging on to 1/100th of a second.
We're hanging on to a dream right now, baby. Just hanging on. But that's interesting. You talk about Newman, his second lap. Most of these guys, their second lap is going to be their fastest lap. When we watch qualifying later today, it takes that first lap to get a little bit of heat, but by the time you run 4 or 5 laps, you get too much heat in the tires.
1 minute left in the session. Martin Truex 16th.
Problem right now in this last minute, we got a lot of guys trying to make mock qualifying runs, but there's still guys out there in race trim that they can't get out of the way quick enough.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing as a team and as a spotter and as a driver, is to find a clear place on the racetrack late in practice. How many times we see it at Daytona and everybody talks about, I run 10 miles an hour faster than I've ever run at Daytona because I got a draft, you know what I mean? But it's the same thing here. You run slower because somebody gets in your way.
Matt Kenseth 21st. 21.84, his last lap was his quickest. There's the track record holder, Brian Vickers. And the flags are in the air as everybody completes their last time around. Jamie McMurray will be the last guy with a shot. He had a 75 as his best lap. That is 9th. And the experts prevail by 1/100th of a second.
We'll be expecting our invitation to Mensa after this.
Juan Montoya wins practice from Kevin Harvick, Carl Edwards, Regan Smith, and Clint Boyer. But Dale Earnhardt Jr. will have the coveted 35th spot in the qualifying line. He was almost 2/100ths quicker in the first session than Montoya was in this one.
I'm not sure where Mensa is, but it sounds like a cool place to go.
It's a suburb of Cleveland, I think. All right, NASCAR Live is next, and we'll see you a little later on with Sprint Cup qualifying.
Well, all the practice is over. Now it is time to set the grid for this weekend's 2 races at the Richmond International Raceway. Stand by, everyone. NASCAR Live, presented by Geico, is coming your way next. What a busy day it's been so far at the Richmond International Raceway, and what a busy night it will be. We still have 2 rounds of qualifying to go, and also a Nationwide Series race that you can see right here on Speed. With that in mind, let's take a look at the menu, see what is still to come today on Speed, and it is a lot. And we should say today and tonight as well. Nationwide Series qualifying coming to you in a matter of minutes. Then at Sprint Cup Series qualifying, they will set the grid for Saturday night's race. A special edition of Trackside will take you right up to the Nationwide Series race, which once again will be live on Speed tonight, and that's huge for us. Then at Speed Center at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, Trackside Special Edition wraps up the whole day at 10:30 Eastern Time. Want to welcome in our good friend Randy Pemberton. And Randy, a very clean day of practice so far. Not a lot of sheet metal bent up, which is very unusual for the short track, but it's been a theme we've talked about throughout today. You got to get it right this time around, because next time we come back here, a driver may be fighting for a spot in the chase.
Yeah, no question about it, and that's going to be critical. But I think really they have to focus on this race. People need success now, and if they can gain something that they can apply to their race cars for the next time they come here, when they try to make the chase, maybe they're 12th or 13th and they may need a win, that's going to be big. But the reality of it is, every single race pays a lot of points, Johnny, and this one is important. So that practice session was important for sure.
And also could be huge for somebody if they get a win now. That could propel them into the chase as well. Well, no one was faster than Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the first practice, but in the second practice, here are the top 5 fastest, starting out with the 5th, and that is Clint Boyer. Randy, we will remember after the bump heard round the racing world, he won here.
Yes, and he gets around this place very, very well, as do all the RCR drivers. So look for these guys to be contenders. Certainly Clint Boyer, I got my eye on him this weekend.
Regan Smith was 4th fastest in practice, and that team out of Denver, Colorado continues to be impressive.
They are fast every week. He's qualifying in the top 10. It's only a matter of time, Johnny, before he puts it together and gets a nice finish. How about Carl Edwards in the 99? Carl, 3rd quick. They call him Concrete Carl. No concrete here, but Carl Edwards looking for the win here on Saturday night.
And how about Kevin Harvick, another one of the Richard Childress racing cars you talked about? He has had great success at this track. Absolutely loves this racetrack. It fits his style. He's nice and smooth. He takes his time, but when it's all said and done, he's there at the end, Johnny. And the fastest car in this final practice session was Juan Pablo Montoya. He took away the top spot very late in practice. Johnny, can this guy please get a win on an oval soon? I mean, look, he's up there on top of the board right now. Maybe it's this weekend for Juan Pablo Montoya. Let us hope, because that would certainly be a big step for that race team. Right now, it is time for our Geico Pit Report, and we're going to start out with Wendy Venturini. Wendy?
Hello, Johnny. Yes, we're here on the backside of the garage area checking in with Jamie McMurray in the one car. They had some issues during this practice session with the water pump. They actually had a crack in the water pump and had to change it. Now, the team did lose about 30 minutes of practice, but nonetheless, when he got back out there, he ended up 9th in this practice session. Now, what does that all mean? Well, basically, if they were leaking water, they could have blown the engine if Danny Lawrence and the guys with the ECR engines did not catch this problem fast enough, which could have caused Jamie McMurray to start in the rear of the field for the race. But good thing is that's what practice is for. They noticed that they had the leak in the water pump, they changed it, and all is good for Jamie McMurray's car. And keep in mind, folks, this is a tough track for Jamie McMurray. His best finish is 7th out of 16 starts. Bob, only 4 of them have been top 10s.
Well, I'll tell you what, Kyle Busch, it's been a very good racetrack here at Richmond for him. 12 races, 10 top 5 finishes with 2 victories. But you know what? During this latest practice session, that number 18 car, not too good, on the wrong side of the speed charts. On the right side, 34th quick. But I spoke to his team just before the practice ended, and they said, don't worry, we are in race-type mode right now. We weren't doing mock qualifying runs like so many other teams. In fact, they did them initially in the first practice session, but they were slow there too because they got held up on the racetrack by some slower cars. Not nervous at all for this 18 team here. They come in with a lot of confidence. They're going to put the car up on scales, get it ready for qualifying, but Kyle Busch, oh so good here at the action track. I guarantee you he'll be up near the front of the field tomorrow night. Johnny?
Bob, thanks a lot. And at all 12 of those starts, he has finished on the lead lap. Unusual for Kyle Busch, however, he is not running the Nationwide race tonight. Kelly Byers will be in that number 18 Nationwide Series car. Back with more of NASCAR Live, presented by Geico in a moment.
NASCAR Live is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at funaiamerica.com.
In 22 days.
Have you ever? No, I have never.
Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race live on Speed.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green, green.
Look outside. It's grow time. So let's plant some perennials that'll turn up every year. Trees and shrubs to give us depth, and fill it out with flowers placed in just the perfect place. Let's spend less, but plant more. What do you say we plant a weekend, water it, and watch a summer spring up? More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. We're lowering the cost of putting down some roots. Get 1 gallon perennials 3 for just $10.
I'm a hot babe out jogging. I'm out making sure this stays a 10 when you drive by. You're checking out my awesome headband when... Oops. That's when you find out your cut rate insurance, it ain't paying for this. So get Allstate. Save cash and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Dollar for dollar, nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate.
So you think you can hang with us? Then you'll have to endure some bumper-to-bumper traffic. Deal with some tough customers getting up in your grill. And get into a few scrapes
And to those who don't expect us to go all out on every lap, we've got one word for you. Tough.
They're 3 wide. 3 by 3 to the line. Johnson.
2/1000ths of a second.
Clint Boyer among the hottest drivers in the garage area right now. 2 straight second-place finishes, but I know you don't like that bridesmaid role. How about a victory, man?
Man, it was oh so close. I could smell it, but you know, we've been having a good time here as of late. The last 4 races have been good for us. We just got to continue that momentum. You know, I didn't know I wanted an off weekend. I was looking forward to the off weekend, but you know, I was looking forward to getting back to the racetrack because we've been having a good time.
You know, taking a look at that Talladega, and you've had about 2 weeks to analyze that. Could you, would you, should you have done anything different?
Man, I don't know. I don't know what I think I did everything right. You know, but 9 times out of 10, you do everything right, and 48 still beats you. But we had a good run. It was a good Talladega for us. You know, I went back to the shop, and all 4 cars were out on a wash rack getting washed with a pressure washer. And there was no grinders grinding the body off or torches cutting the rear clip or the front clip off. We had a good run down there for everybody at RCR, and I'll take a second place any day there.
I'll tell you what, keep an eye on this guy because he's going to get back to victory lane very soon, up to 10th in points, Johnny.
And Bob, the way he's been going has been very impressive because they said it was going to be very difficult to make up ground under the new point system, but Clint Boyer is proving that no matter how difficult he is, Randy Pemberton, he's getting it done. Well, it's all about laying down some solid finishes, not having anything happen, no DNFs, not getting those poor finishes of 30th or worse, and being very, very consistent. And he's done that in the last couple of weeks, you know, running up front and finishing second. And that team definitely has bounced back and done it in a good way over this part of the season. And remember, a couple of years back when Clint Boyer earned his way into the chase by virtue of points, and everybody's saying, oh, you know, he backed his way in there, he hadn't won. How he responded to that was going out and winning the first race. Absolutely. You know, going back to Talladega, what a great race that was. When you talk about Talladega, how about Mark Martin running second off of turn 4? He's pushing Jeff Gordon, looks like, to the win. He ends up finishing 8th. That was one of the best finishes ever in the sport. Actually tied for the closest ever. You got to go back to Darlington with Kurt Busch and Ricky Craven to get another one that close. Like racing, like money, like speed on Facebook for your chance to win $10,000. Watch the NASCAR Sprint Cup All-Star Race on Speed May 21st to get a special code that will give you more chances to win with 10 grand on the line. What's not to like? And what's not to like about a sunny day at the Richmond International Raceway? We got qualifying coming up for the rest of the day, and of course, Nationwide Series Racing.
Beaten and banging. Oh, under the lights, baby.
It's the Nationwide Race, live from Richmond.
DW, this is a big deal. I know, brother. That's why we're doing it. You've never seen a NASCAR Nationwide Series race like you're going to see it on Speed.
It's a rough and tumble brawl under the lights, brought to you by the network who loves racing most.
It's going to be fun. Don't miss it.
Live from Richmond, tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Presented by Nationwide, brought to you exclusively on Speed.
Bell helmets, mongoose elbow pads, a pillow pet, and cotton balls.
You're doing great. Guys, come on. She's not that bad of a driver.
Only Walmart has low prices every day on everything you need, backed by our Ad Match Guarantee. Save money, live better. Walmart.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams from Money.
If you are a diabetic and concerned about maintaining your healthy blood glucose levels, please stay tuned to this important message. A market trial offer is starting now for a revolutionary breakthrough in natural blood sugar management called glycosine, and you're eligible to try it free for 30 days. We are looking for 200 callers to receive a limited 30-day trial, so call immediately. 888-222-4250. The ups and downs you experience from naturally fluctuating blood sugar levels can be frustrating. Clinical studies of the key ingredients in glycosine have shown these ingredients to be effective in supporting healthy glucose metabolism. And now this new formula is being released to the general public. Your area has been selected to try it right now for free. The first 200 callers are guaranteed participation in the trial. Call immediately to find out how to receive your free 30-day trial. 888-222-4250. 888-222-4250. If the line is busy, please keep trying.
You haven't seen a NASCAR Nationwide Series race like you'll see it tonight on Speed. It's a rough and tumble brawl under the lights as DW and Michael Waltrip bringing the action live from Richmond. Exclusive Speed coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series race from Richmond begins tonight at 7:30 Eastern. Don't miss it. We will see if Brad Keselowski can do it again. It is always one of the best shows of the year in the Nationwide Series here at Richmond. Well, throughout the day, NASCAR stars go into the media center and take on some really good questions and some questions that they prefer not to take on. But here's some of the best media center answers of the day.
It's hard for me to know exactly the way that Roush has got things structured, but when I was over there, Jack would come in and throw anvils around. And the way that Roger Penske does it is he'll use a feather and just kind of polish things up here and there. When you commit to go a certain route with 5 teams, even the other teams that are supported by Roush's chassis and Ford and all that, you commit to go a long way. Where at Penske, it's little changes here and there. And so I don't think we're going to find ourselves in a deep hole anywhere. It's just we're trying to uncover small rocks at a time.
At times, his sense of humor really keeps things lighthearted, and I had a blast listening to him during the race at Talladega. I've asked Chad if I could have his radio at other tracks so I can just tune in to kind of pick my spirits up, but he won't let me. He's on board. And I think a big factor in their consistency and in the confidence that I see in Dale Jr. today is the chemistry between he and Stevie. This sport's about people.
It's a lot of pressure to try to keep going, try to keep up the expectations that everybody has for you. So, when we accomplish certain goals, like win a race or win a couple races or make the chase or win a race in the chase or battle for the championship, those kind of things I can get excited about and get happy with, and I'll enjoy those moments. And I'm happy to be consistent.
Now, do you think that's deliberate on Goodyear's part, just to change things up and keep you from winning the 6th championship or something like that? I mean, are they deliberately trying to just change things up so you can't come back with what you got?
No, it's not directed at me. It's just to make a better product. Well, I don't know if... I would feel or think that they run a high risk of taking a lot of criticism, to do that. Why would you put your company out there in the firing line just to make things interesting? I don't think that's the case.
Right now, this is a new left side tire. It's a tire from Phoenix, so that's a change. It's almost like every week we're just playing Russian roulette with the tires on what are we going to get.
You never know quite what you're going to get because it's like a box of chocolates. But when the tires change, the great teams adapt. They always have. And it's funny when people say, oh, did you make that rule change to thwart Jimmy Johnson? You know what? He is one with the old car. He's one with the new car. He's one with this tire. He's one with that tire. Doesn't matter what the rules package is. Those great teams always rise to the top. They do. But I do find it interesting that it seems like every week, and usually it's a right side tire. Here it's a left side tire. Goodyear stepping up and trying to make the racing better. But in the end result, everybody goes to the racetrack and it's a clean slate, so they have to adapt their race cars, and I think it does level the playing field somewhat. Not that it's pointed at Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus, but it certainly has made a difference. We have 7 different winners in 8 races, and oftentimes we have different tires. It's their job to improve the competition, and we have seen great competition on the racetrack so far this year. For more from the rest of the world of motorsports, let's go south to the Speed Studios in Charlotte, North Carolina, and Adam Alexander. Double A.
Thank you, JR. We are standing by here in the Speed headquarters, and here is what's happening right now. We start with MotoGP. Marco Simoncelli, fastest in both practice sessions in Portugal, despite this crash. Jorge Lorenzo, the favorite here, having won the last 3 races, less than a tenth of a second back. Danny Pedrosa rounds out the top 3. You can see all the action 8 a.m. Sunday morning right here on Speed. Round 4 for the IZOD IndyCar Series on the streets of Sao Paulo, Brazil this weekend, and much of the delight for the drivers has been this new racing service. It's much smoother. Practice and qualifying tomorrow. You can see the action, of course, on Speed Center coming up Sunday evening. The premier stock car series outside the United States is the World Touring Car Championship. They compete in 12 different countries, and next year make their U.S. debut at Infineon Raceway. And BMW, Chevrolets, and Volvos all started on a standard production line. We've got nationwide qualifying next, and tonight we got the race. It happens at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
One of the most exciting nights in all of motorsports.
It's a good night to get even with somebody.
The NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, Saturday, May 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
Drifting can be the most demanding motorsport in the world. My name is June Main. The high RPMs required to keep my tires spinning and rubber burning are brutal on engine oil. That's why Lucas Synthetic Oil Stabilizer was formulated for performance on the track and the highway. Lucas Synthetic Oil Stabilizer keeps my power on for split-second decisions, making every shift and turn count. When it comes to my engine and engine oil, I give it every advantage with Lucas Synthetic Oil Stabilizer.
Amazing results, even in full sun. Now go have fun.
NASCAR Live is presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote. And brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at funaiamerica.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Richmond International Raceway, where we are just moments away from Nationwide Series qualifying, and you can see that Nationwide race live on Speed tonight. It is always one of the best shows of the year. Another great show each year is also the Sprint All-Star Race, which happens at Charlotte Motor Speedway in just a couple of weeks. And the idea of the fan vote was not received with, well, was received with mixed emotions at first, but when Casey Kane got the fan vote, went out and won the thing, I think a lot of people changed their minds about that. With more on the All-Star Race and how you can get involved, let's go to Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, John. Yeah, the All-Star fan vote is definitely a cool concept, and you really got to get involved. Monica Palumbo, Miss Sprint Cup, is joining us on NASCAR Live to tell us about what cool thing happened this week with the Sprint fan vote.
Yeah, I mean, everyone thinks that there's a certain person in the lead, but that's not the case. So keep your votes coming. If you're voting from your Sprint phone, it counts double, but you can vote on NASCAR.com. You can come out to the Sprint Experience and vote. Just text the word vote to 7777 and keep it coming. We've already had a record of 1 million votes already. So great.
It is pretty cool. Now, something else that you guys are doing for the Sprint All-Star Race are giving away tickets. Now, I have an old cell phone. I don't know what to do with it, so you have a plan for people with these old cell phones.
Exactly. You can get free tickets to the Sprint All-Star Race. So like you said, if you have cell phones tucked away in a drawer somewhere and you're wondering, what in the world do I do with these things? You can actually bring it to the Revved Up concert or the Sprint Pit Crew Challenge. You get free tickets to the Sprint All-Star Race. It's that easy. Or you can come out to the Sprint Experience and recycle your phones, and all the proceeds go to Victory Junction Gang Camp.
That is pretty cool. Thanks, Monica. again for joining us. And Johnny, you would be surprised who is not leading that Sprint fan vote. So even more reason why all the fans need to get on their phones and they need to vote, because your driver may not be in it.
And you know what, Wendy? Your driver could also win his way in beforehand. Now, Kyle Busch never will miss an opportunity, well, to shoot somebody. And there he goes. Got Jeff Hammond, and Kyle Busch came riding in to prove that there is a new sheriff in town. The Sprint All-Star fan vote is all part of this big gala we call the Sprint All-Star Race. To vote, visit NASCAR.com or text VOTE to 7777 on your Sprint device. And we could well see Kyle Busch in victory lane after that is all said and done, and maybe he'll shoot Hammond with a squirt gun again. We can only hope. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Down here in the garage area with a couple of guys horsing around, like that segue from Kyle Busch there, but A.J. Allmendinger's a little shorter than David Rudiman. I think David can actually take him. I think you're in trouble.
Take me?
Yeah.
All he could take me is in an ugly contest. He'd win for sure. So.
Wow, that was rude.
Yeah, but I love me some Rudiman. Ultimately, I love Rudiman like a fat kid loves cake. So, yeah, that's true. I have a man crush on David Rudiman. It is what it is.
Well, there you have it. How does that make you feel, David Rudiman?
I don't even. That just came out of left field. You came over to interview me, and Dinger comes in here and steals my thunder. I don't know what to think about that. But AJ's a good guy, and we got a pretty good Airstream machine today. We've been working on it all day, and fighting a little bit of loose getting in, and then tight in the middle, loose off. A lot of stuff a lot of guys fight here, but Rodney Childers and the guys done a really good job. I think we're getting closer.
So is it you or the car?
It may be me. We seem to fight the same stuff every time we come, and they change a lot of stuff on the car. So maybe it's just driver. Maybe the driver's just not getting it done. I don't know, but we'll try to work around that a little bit and see if we can make it better.
Here's what I want to talk about. Coming into this year, a lot of people said, man, David Rudiman's gonna challenge this year. Nary a top 10 so far this year, and I know that's pretty depressing for you. So I got something for you here. Of course, Aaron, the lucky dog here, I'm going to present you with the lucky dog, because if anybody needs some luck here in the garage area, it's you. We need to get you a top 10 man.
I do, and the lucky dog has been, kind of an icon now in the sport, if you will. And but realistically, we haven't had a lot of luck this year. So hopefully we can get things switched around and get something going our way. We've got a great team. We've had fast race cars. We just can't get the luck to go our way. So hopefully this will help a little bit.
Well, there you go. You got the lucky dog. And Johnny, we want to know, did David and I do our good Michael Waltrip impersonation with Aaron the lucky dog?
Yeah, but you didn't do the voice, Bob. You got to get. Well, we'll do that later. We'll do that later when we have more time, and you also won't make Rudy imitate the boss. That would be probably bad there. But when David Rudiman won that race, that Coke 600, rain shortened or not, it was very emotional and very cool. It's always really neat to see a guy win for the first time. And it was interesting that Bob had A.J. Allmendinger with him, because a lot of people think that might be our next first-time winner in Sprint Cup. What do you think, Randy?
A.J. Allmendinger, certainly, I think he's on top of the list as that next first-time winner. Regan Smith also comes to mind. He's practiced well here. But going back to David Rudiman, this guy is a wheelman. I mean, make no mistake about it. David Rudiman can wheel a race car. And I think he's going to win more races, even though he didn't get the lucky break when he was a young man. But he's done a terrific job. We learn a lot of stuff here on the show. Here's the other thing I learned. Dale Earnhardt's been called a lot of things, but now he's been called a certain person. And I didn't know that.
a certain person that is not. So I guess that was Earnhardt they were talking about.
Evidently.
Okay, well, that's what Randy said. You can think whatever you want, but let's go to Wendy.
Thanks, Johnny. We send our well wishes to Trevor Bayne, who's hospitalized and does have a fill-in driver in the Nationwide Series with Chris Buescher. But that's not the only replacement driver possibly that could happen for Roush Fenway Racing. And why is that? Well, it's because Carl Edwards might have a backup driver, and it is the baby watch, Kyle Petty's favorite topic. If his wife does go into labor, we do have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. that will fill in for Carl in the Cup Series, and in the Nationwide car for Carl Edwards, it would be David Reagan. And there you go, Johnny, the latest baby watch.
All right, Wendy, keep us up to date on the baby watch. I personally think it's all fun to see that as well. But now we are getting set in a few minutes to set the grid for tonight's nationwide race here on Speed. Qualifying is coming your way in just a moment right after this break. And thank you for joining us, everyone, for NASCAR Live presented by Geico. And keep it here on Speed. We'll be back with much more throughout the day and the night as well.
Look outside. It's grow time. So let's plant some perennials that'll turn up every year. Trees and shrubs to give us depth, and fill it out with flowers placed in just the perfect place. Let's spend less, but plant more. What do you say we plant a weekend, water it, and watch a summer spring up? More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. We're lowering the cost of putting down some roots. Get 1 gallon perennials 3 for just $10.
Well, I know one thing about marketing. The more logos you put in one place, the better.
Having something unique is better.
Check it out.
The Shell nitrogen-enriched cleaning system acts as a barrier to help protect against performance-robbing gunk. He's good.
Green flag.
Ah, Fiber One Honey Cluster cereal. That's really good.
It tastes good, so there can't be fiber in it.
It's actually got about half a day's worth of fiber.
Really? Try it.
Honey, touch of brown sugar, crunchy clusters.
Any cardboard?
Cardboard, no. Delicious, yes.
Truth is, if you don't have your motorcycle insurance where you have your car insurance, you're paying too much. At Allstate, when you combine, you save up to 30%. Dollar for dollar, nobody protects the rider better than Allstate.
Beaten and banging. Oh, under the lights, baby.
It's the nationwide race, live from Richmond.
DW, this is a big deal.
I know, brother. That's why we're doing it.
You've never seen a NASCAR Nationwide Series race like you're going to see it on Speed.
It's a rough and tumble brawl under the lights, brought to you by the network who loves racing most.
It's going to be fun. Don't miss it.
Live from Richmond, tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Presented by Nationwide, brought to you exclusively on Speed.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Richmond International Raceway here in the capital of the Old South in the Commonwealth of Virginia. NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying is coming your way. We are just barely firing our engines on a full day of coverage here that will end up on Speed tonight with our first ever flag-to-flag coverage of a live Nationwide Series race. Hello, everybody. I'm John Roberts. Glad you could be with us and keep it right here on Speed as we got you covered all day and all night long. Let's take a look at the menu, see what is still to come today. And believe me, it is a lot. Nationwide Series qualifying is coming up next as we set the grid for tonight's race on Speed. Sprint Cup Series qualifying at 5:30 Eastern Time, where we'll set the grid for tomorrow night's race. A special edition of Trackside with Matt Kenseth will take you in to tonight's Nationwide Series race. And that, of course, the Bubba Burger 250 at 7:30 Eastern Time. Speed Center with Adam Alexander at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. And then, what could be better but more Trackside, a special edition at 10:30 Eastern Time. That is all on Speed. It is all live. So we're making it very user-friendly. Put down the clicker. Don't worry about it because we've got you covered. Randy Pemberton in here with us today, and we're looking at a race that's very significant when we look at tonight's Nationwide race. Not only who is here, but who is not going to be racing. Kelly Byers is going to be behind the wheel of that number 18 car, and this is a great racetrack for Kyle Busch. It is very rare that you have a companion event and you don't see Kyle Busch in the Nationwide car.
Yeah, it is interesting, and quite frankly, before I got here, I did not realize that Kelly Byers was going to be in that car. So it's going to be interesting. It's certainly a great platform for Kelly Byers to sit in what is arguably the best car out there in the Nationwide Series. The one thing that I think we have coming up here when you talk about qualifying for the Nationwide cars, don't forget, this race much shorter, 250 laps. So it's more important even so than it is in the Sprint Cup Series to try and qualify up front. If you can qualify up front, it helps the opportunity to stay up front. So very, very, very important qualifying session coming up for the Nationwide guys.
The cloud cover here is going in and out in Richmond right now, so the track is cooling down, and the guys who will have the best shot at the pole position are the fastest in practice, and here's where they will go out. Kenny Wallace is up there, as well as Justin Allgaier. David Stremming. Remember, Kenny Wallace visited Victory Lane several times here at Richmond. This is his best racetrack in the Nationwide Series. And also, Denny Hamlin, he was fastest in one of the practices today. And you better watch out for him because he loves to excel at his hometown track. Let's go to Bob Dillner.
Well, you mentioned Kyle Busch not in the show tonight. Neither is Trevor Bayne for Roush Fenway Racing. Right now, Trevor Bayne back in Charlotte, still being treated for that bug bite, and it's a mystery here in the garage area. We hope Trevor is getting better. Jack Roush told him, stay home. You're part of our long-term plans. We want you to get better. But the guy actually that is subbing for him this weekend is actually top 5 in ARCA Racing Series points. Chris Buescher, a good friend of David Reagan, who drives for Roush Fenway in the Cup Series. Now, Chris Buescher, these guys on this team tell me, adapted to the Nationwide car very well. In fact, he's making his first ever NASCAR Nationwide Series start here at the action track of Richmond. So a big news story here this weekend that all of us are following. Trevor Bayne out of the Nationwide Series car this weekend here, recovering from that bug bite. It continues to plague him. He's still getting treated for it. Wendy Venturini?
Thanks, Bob. I'm with another Buescher, James Buescher, and Reed Sorensen, of course, Turner Motorsports teammates, and we're going to check in with them, getting ready to qualify for both of you guys. First off, James, how do you feel about your race car going into this weekend? It's such a quick day with a one-day turnaround.
It is a pretty quick day, but our ABF Chevy didn't unload very good. We had to work on it pretty hard in practice and made a lot of wholesale changes. I think one time we changed 3 springs at one time, so we worked hard in practice and got our balance pretty good. Still didn't have the speed that we needed at the end of practice, but we got it to drive better, so that'll be good for tonight's race, and hopefully we made it good enough to be able to qualify towards the front and get a decent starting spot for tonight.
Well, good luck to you. We're going to check in with Reed. And Reed, what did you learn throughout today's practice session? Do you like this racetrack? Because most drivers do.
I love this racetrack. We fought front grip pretty much the whole practice, and last year with this new style Nationwide car, we had a great run and finished 5th. Brought back the same type package, and we really couldn't find any speed in it. So we made some more adjustments here before qualifying, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, good luck. Turner Motorsports definitely making a statement in 2011. Johnny?
Wendy, thanks a lot. And, of course, Reed up there in the points. We're going to have a true Nationwide Series champion this year because, Randy, just to review, at the beginning of this year, NASCAR said you're going to have to declare before the season starts what series you're going to run for the championship in. So, therefore, we won't have a regular Cup driver like we've had the last couple of years win the Nationwide Series championship.
I think it's a good thing. And I think ultimately, you're going to see less and less Cup drivers try to run the full schedule. Even though they say they don't do it for the championship, they're not necessarily running for the championship. I think you'll see that. Let's talk a little bit more about Richmond. When you see this Nationwide Series car, this is the first time that this new configuration of Nationwide Series car has come back to a track. So they're here for the second time. This is a beautiful looking car. I love all the front ends and the noses on these cars. It looks so racy, and it's going to put on a great show right here on Speed tonight, Johnny.
And there's the car that will be piloted by Kenny Wallace, that 09. Better keep an eye out for him because he's running great this year. And also, this is one of his best racetracks, actually his best in the Nationwide Series. We got to take a quick break here on Speed, but when we come back, Rick Allen and company will have Nationwide Series qualifying for tonight's race, which will be live on Speed. So long, everyone.
Wonder where the Durango's been for the last 2 years? It toured around Europe, getting handling and steering lessons on those sporty European roads. It went back to school, got an advanced degree in technology. It's been working out, more muscle and less fat. It's done more in 2 years than most cars do in a lifetime.
Now lease the all-new 2011 Dodge Durango all-wheel drive Express for $359 a month for well-qualified lessees.
Do you have something for pain? Oh, Bear aspirin. I'm not having a heart attack. It's my back.
It works great for pain.
Nothing's proven to relieve pain better than extra-strength Bear aspirin. It rushes relief to the site of pain.
Feel better?
Yeah, thanks for the tip.
My feet are killing me.
Well, we're here to get you custom orthotic inserts.
Dr. Scholl's Custom Fit Orthotic Center recommends the custom fit orthotic that's best for your tired feet. Foot care scientists are behind it.
You'll get all-day relief.
And you could save a couple $100.
For locations, see drscholls.com.
Green flag.
Welcome to the NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying from the Richmond International Raceway here on Speed. Overcast skies above Richmond, Virginia. Temperature 72 degrees. The overcast skies could help guys out, find a little speed here in this qualifying session. It's been a big day already here on Speed, and it continues. Sprint Cup qualifying will follow us here on Speed. Trackside will set up the NASCAR Nationwide 250.
He's a piece of work.
Hello, everyone. Rick Allen, Michael Waltrip, and Darrell Waltrip with you for this qualifying session. Now, we've got 41 cars. What can we expect, EW?
Well, you know, one thing about the Nationwide Series, they impound the cars when qualifying is over with. In other words, you can't do anything to the car. You can take a little tape off the grill, and you can make a slight chassis adjustment with wedge and track bar, but that's all you can do. Michael, how's that going to affect the race?
An interesting thing happened this morning, Rick. The driver walked up. The crew chief said, hey, man, we need to get us a setup we can win this race with. Go out and get me a great race setup. And the driver said, that's my job. That's what I'll do. And he focuses on that race setup. And then at the end of practice, the crew chief said, great, I love it. You got it? Driver says, I'm all in. Okay, now we got to qualify. Well, that's a different setup. To win the race, you're going to have hot tires. You're going to be running 50, 60 laps on those tires. To qualify, the tires are cold, and you got 2 laps to do it. Different world.
Very important, though, qualifying, because of the last 14 races, 13 winners have come out of the top 10.
These guys are good, Rick.
They are good. Speaking of good, let's go down to Ray Dunlap. He's very good on pit road.
Well, thank you, Rick. And I want to talk about a team that hasn't been very good in the first few races of the season in the Nationwide Series. That's Rusty Wallace Racing. These guys are 10th and 11th in driver points. And I talked with Rusty extensively today, and he said, here's the deal. We know that we've got good cars. We know we have good engineering. We know we have good drivers and good motors. But somewhere we're missing it in the setup. Somewhere in the springs and the shocks, we just can't hit the right combination. We get these cars 15 laps into a race, and they go wicked loose to where the drivers can't hold on to them. And we've seen them crash quite a few times already this year. Today, Michael Annette in this number 62 has been quite tight. But he said it's that balance from going tight to loose is so fine on these new cars. And so far, this team just hasn't found it. Hermie Sadler?
Well, Ray, a Nationwide Series team that's really come on the scene in a big way is Turner Motorsports. One of their drivers, Justin Allgaier, he is tied for the points lead right now in the NASCAR Nationwide Series. One of the storylines we've been following, and will be today during qualifying and in the race tonight on Speed, is when will a Nationwide Series regular get to victory lane and win one of these races. The last Nationwide Series regular to win a race in this series, Justin Allgaier, last year at Bristol. Winning a race could start with a great qualifying run here today. Rick?
Thanks, Hermie. On the racetrack, Jeremy Clements. He's got one start at this track. Last year he started 13th, finished 34th. Going to look to improve on that. Now we've got 30 that are locked in as far as owner points. And of those 30, Jeremy was the slowest of the 30. That's why he went out first.
Nice pickup from practice. His best practice lap was a 76. So that's a nice pickup from what he practiced.
Yeah, over a half a second. You're probably not going to see that. Although, Darrell, I think maybe the track's hotter today than these guys have ever felt it. The cars went out on the track this morning at 9 o'clock. Nice, cool conditions. And now, with the temperature up and Jeremy running that lap, he's got to be happy with that.
Yeah, and Mike, there's no question that qualifying with your race setup is not a handicap necessarily, but it makes it very difficult.
I was talking to Martin Truex, and he was telling me that he feels like sometimes, you know, even with the impound rules, when you go out to qualify, you run faster than you qualified before when you could do a whole qualifying setup. He said, so sometimes I think teams have a little bit of a tendency to overthink things when it comes to qualifying. You don't get to overthink this. You go out and qualify with your race setup, and it's a challenge for the drivers, but yet they seem to be up to the challenge.
Derek Cope was second quick. He wasn't able to pick up as much as Jeremy Clements did, so Jeremy Clements still has the time that we're looking for as far as who wants to top him for that top spot. Eric McClure on the racetrack now, and what a story Eric has. With the recent storms, his home was damaged, and that was actually just 2 days ago, and had to take his whole family out of his home, take him to his father's place, and then made the trip here late last night to get here for this race.
Yeah, you know, NASCAR has a big initiative. They started today, Talladega Superspeedway right down there in that area, and NASCAR is really working hard to get get some people, get some of these foundations, get some money raised, help the Red Cross, food, supplies, whatever they can do. Big deal for NASCAR to help out down there.
Yeah, Talladega Superspeedway committed $100,000 to the cleanup effort and relief. So certainly Denny Hamlin's race last night for his foundation, he made an audible to donate some money to the victims in the South. So our whole community always rises and does what they can to help others, and this is another great example of that.
NASCAR fans can go to NASCAR.com/unite to help out those affected by our recent disasters. We're qualifying right here on Speed. Stay with us.
The magnificent Beatrice Henson is turning 100 soon, an achievement worthy of celebration. And thanks to Sprint's Unlimited plan, you can call or text her number or email her address for no extra cost. So congratulate her, sing to her, and together we can give a complete stranger the best birthday ever. Go ahead, world. Unlimit yourself. Sprint, America's favorite 4G network.
Brand name merchandise for your home. Furniture, computers, electronics, and more. Appliances, accessories too. Don't need credit, Aaron's makes it easy for you. Nobody beats Aaron's. Nobody.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams from Money Moves.
Get a season of fun for the price of one day. Pay one full-priced admission and get an entire season of fun for free. Purchase your season pass today. Offer good for a limited time. Now, you have the chance to win a season of fun when you visit recroom.com and enter California's Great America Fun and Only Season Pass giveaway. Win season passes for your family, $100 in gift cards, and a flip video. California's Great America is open Wednesday through Sunday for spring break.
We are the face of Comcast.
I'm a perfectionist. At least I try to be.
At Comcast, we solve problems.
If we don't resolve the problem the first time,
we'll extend a courtesy service to our customers.
You're a customer, you deserve it.
If you're a new customer and you're not satisfied with our services,
you can get your money back in the first 30 days.
It's a phenomenal thing to offer to our customers.
We're only as good as our word. And our word is good.
Whether it's giving you a $20 credit if we're late or 30 days to try us out, at Comcast, we're all about the customer, and that's always guaranteed.
Qualifying from Richmond is brought to you by Fram. Fram filters help make sure failure is not part of your engine's life. Don't fail your engine. Use Fram. And in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. Qualifying underway, coming off the racetrack, the 15 of Timmy Hill. Timmy was third quick of the four that have been on the racetrack, so Jeremy Clements was an overachiever so far in his qualifying run.
Yeah, we talked about what a great lap that was for Jeremy, and you know, Rick, we usually see 10, 15 different pole sitters, but Jeremy's been able to turn away the next four guys that have come up against him. There's Charles Lewandowski on the track now trying to see if he can do anything with Clements' lap, but great job by Jeremy.
Yeah, and just so you know, folks, that we're going slowest to fastest. You take your fastest practice speed, and then that's how you go out. The faster you are, the later you go.
Right. And it gets intense at the end, man.
It does. Tightens up.
Locked in. Denny Hamlin ran the fastest time in qualifying earlier today at 21.820. We'll see if he can back that up or maybe even improve upon that mark.
This young man here has done a great job, Rick. I drafted with him down at Talladega. He ran up front a lot, but it just seems like every weekend when he shows up, this is Blake Koch. He is just always on the gas and has proven that he came to this sport and he gets it. He knows how to not only run fast, but he survives, finishes races. I've been impressed with this young man.
I'll tell you what I'm impressed with. I'm impressed with these new cars. Look at the nose of that car. I mean, you can tell that's a Dodge.
Right.
And this is kind of the future of Cup. Next, in 2013, Cup's going to go to a new body style that's going to give the Cup cars a new identity as well.
And I hear they're even going to maybe try to take it to another step where the things really look like what you buy off the showroom floor. And I know that's going to be fun for us to watch those cars develop.
Blake Koch second quick on his second lap, so he moves up just behind Jeremy Clements at 22.283. So the mark's still 2:39 is what everyone's shooting for.
Beaten and banging.
You've never seen a NASCAR Nationwide Series race like you're going to see it on Speed.
Live from Richmond, tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Presented by Nationwide. Brought to you exclusively on Speed.
Hi, this other store has these for 20 cents less.
What?
Match it.
Match it. Match it.
Match it.
Match it.
Match it.
20 cents less.
What?
Just match it.
Match it.
Match it. Match it. Match it. Match it. Match it.
Match it.
Match it.
Match it. Thank you. Got it. I'll match that price right here. Oh, cool.
We won't be beat. We have low prices every day on everything, backed by our Ad Match guarantee. Save money. Live better. Walmart.
Could switching to Geico really save you 15% or more on car insurance? Do dogs chase cats?
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Haven't seen a Nationwide Series race like you'll see it tonight right here on Speed. It's rough and tumble, brawling under the lights as DW and Michael Walter bring you the action live from right here at Richmond. Exclusive Speed coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series from Richmond begins tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Don't miss it, only on Speed.
There we go. Somebody finally knocked Jeremy Clements off the pole.
Scott Wimmer posts a good mark.
Michael and I are going to let you join us.
Is it
tonight.
okay?
Yeah, you can be in the show too.
I know there's been a lot of talk about me being up here.
Yeah, well, I know, but you're part. There's the three of us.
We're going to have a lot of fun. That's for sure.
We're the three best friends that anyone could have.
Sing it for us. Scott Wimmer, he goes to the top of the charts, 22.135.
Now this is a guy that picked up really good late in practice while the track was hotter, so that's why he has a poor qualifying draw. We'll see if he can do anything with our post hitter Scott Wimmer, and doesn't look good on that first lap. Plus he's off the track. Daryl, did you see that?
Yeah, he's taking a shortcut.
Yeah,
I don't think that's a good idea.
We heard Hermie talking about Turner Motorsports, and James Busher's one of the 4 entries for Turner Motorsports here today, but James runs a lot of the Camping World Truck Series races as well.
Yeah, that wasn't a good lap.
No, he looked like the car was maybe not driving the way he'd like for it to, because I know getting down on the apron sometimes can help you get the car to turn, but that wasn't really all that smooth.
Didn't work out for James this time. So of the 8 that have been on the track, James was 7th quick at 22.692. Ryan Truex comes out onto the racetrack now, and that Pastrana Waltrip, number 99.
Like a good line there off turn 4. Looked like maybe Ryan got a little tight off 2, which will hurt that back straightaway speed as well as the speed down in turn 2.
Looking good on lap number 2 as you see the tracker.
Yeah, they've been picking up a couple of tenths. Most of these guys have, so we'll see where that puts him.
Working through 3 and 4.
Car looks
Unique
good.
racetrack. Look how far out, how wide they go when they come out of turn number 4. Slides to the top. So Ryan Truex takes that top spot, 22.132, only 3/1000ths of a second in front of Scott Wimmer. Ray Dunlap.
Hey, Rick, during Sprint Cup practice, I heard Darrell and the guys talking about driving steering wheels, and I'll tell you, it's interesting when you walk through the pits now to look. How many of these guys have the really super soft padded Momo wheels? These things only have about an 11.5 or 12-inch diameter, and guess what? I happened to find one of Darrell's old steering wheels here, too, so I just wanted to show you. Kind of like driving an old pickup truck, ain't it, DW?
You know, that's when we got up on the wheel right there, buddy.
She's loose.
Literally. You got up and
you had to get up on top of that thing. Yeah. Nice, Ray.
Thanks.
Michael Annett, first lap out, 10th quick, but looks like he's going to improve it on lap number 2. Let's see if he can knock Ryan Truex off the top spot across the stripe. Does he get there? Nope, 4th quick for Michael Annett.
Really tight times, just a 1/10 of a second separating our first 4 guys already, so that'll be sort of a theme throughout this whole session, Daryl.
Maybe you're right.
Who will be the overachiever in qualifying today? Coming up, Michael Wallace, Elliott Zabin.
One of the most exciting nights in all of motorsports.
It's a good night to get even with somebody.
The NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, Saturday, May 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
Wonder where the Durango's been for the last 2 years?
It toured around Europe, getting handling and steering lessons on those sporty European roads. It went back to school, got an advanced degree in technology. It's been working out, more muscle and less fat. It's done more in 2 years than most cars do in a lifetime.
Now lease the all-new 2011 Dodge Durango all-wheel drive Express for $359 a month for well-qualified lessees.
You've reached the age where you don't back down from a challenge. This is the age of knowing how to make things happen. So why would you let something like erectile dysfunction get in your way? Isn't it time you talk to your doctor about Viagra? 20 million men already have. With every age comes responsibility. Ask your doctor if your heart is healthy enough for sex. Do not take Viagra if you take nitrates for chest pain, as it may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Side effects may include headache, flushing, upset stomach, and abnormal vision. To avoid long-term injury, seek immediate medical help for an erection lasting more than 4 hours. Stop taking Viagra and call your doctor right away if you experience a sudden decrease or loss in vision or hearing. This is the age of taking action. Viagra. Talk to your doctor. See if America's most prescribed ED treatment is right for you.
Welcome back, NASCAR Nationwide Series 250 qualifying here on Speed, your Motorsports Authority. Mike Wallace now on the racetrack in the 0-1.
Good lap there. First lap of a 22.31. Like Darrell said, they've been picking up about 2/10. If Mike's able to do that, that'll shoot him all the way to the top. And you know, Rick, I'm always a little shocked when there's a new pole sitter, but it's supposed to be that way. These guys are going out in the reverse order of how they practice. So Mike was faster in practice than all these guys.
And you can see the tape on the grill there. That's one of the things they allow you to do. You can tape up the grill, but then when you get finished qualifying, that's one of the things you can undo. Take that tape and adjust it the way you want it for the race. Make a little wedge adjustment, a little track bar adjustment, and that's it.
And the major thing these teams do, though, is they blow these tires up.
Ooh.
You know, when they get ready to start the race, they lower the air, so as the tires get hot and the air pressure builds, they compensate for that. But for these 2 laps, they blow those tires way up, and that's a big adjustment as well.
Fastest guy so far in qualifying, standing by with Hermie.
Yeah, Ryan Truex, good pickup from practice, and so far P1. How was your lap?
It was all right. We picked up a lot from practice. I'm pretty happy with that. Our Toyota drove pretty good. We were pretty off when we started practice here, and these guys worked really, really hard on this thing. And I think we got a pretty good car for tonight, so I'm looking forward to it.
And just so Michael doesn't have to do it, I want to say Pastrana, Waltrip Racing, Napa, and Aaron are part of this program as well. Ray?
Well, Hermie, let's listen in and talk to Jason Leffler. The track has gotten hot and slick. Is that going to be to your advantage or not?
Well, I don't know. It depends. The clouds are going in and out. You know, so yeah, you want to catch a cloud, but the Great Clips Chevy's been really fast all day. I like it when it's hot and slick, but as long as it's that way for everybody, it'll be consistent. But guys did a great job today, and I feel really good about my car tonight.
Okay, good luck. That is Jason Leffler, driver number 38, and it looks like we're going to have cloud cover for a good bit now, guys.
But you know, Ray, the way as quickly as qualifying is going, I mean, they're rolling these things out on the white flag. It's not going to really change the conditions hardly at all.
So many times we heard guys say, well, I hope I go later in the session because it was when you either get darker or you knew the cloud cover was coming. But they go so quickly, as you mentioned, this session can be over in less than an hour.
But, Darrell, you know this. Drivers are mentally a little bit fragile, especially when it's qualifying time. Nerves are right up on top of the chip. And so when you catch a cloud, it makes you feel better. Whether it helps a lot or not, it gives you that mental confidence like, man, it's going to stick a little bit better.
Reed Sorensen to the top of the charts, 21.872. He's the first one to dip below the 22-second mark. And again, I told you earlier about the fastest lap was 21.820 by Denny Hamlin. Well, Reed Sorensen awful close to it, and he's only the 13th driver to go out on the track.
And by the way, Michael, drivers don't agree about almost anything. They usually disagree, but cloud cover is one thing they all agree on.
Right.
What about fragile? I heard I think driver's fragile, and I was worried about that.
Intense would be a better word. They get real tense. They get real jukey when they get ready to qualify.
Josh Wise on the racetrack. He's got 3 previous starts at this racetrack. 26 is his best starts. Right on lap.
Well, we see Kenny Wallace talking with David Stremme down here. And how about 33rd start for old Kenny Wallace and a 3-time winner at Richmond? What do you got for him tonight?
Well, you know, this is my comeback tour. The Herminator's on the comeback, so I'm positive. Now we just got to parlay it into a good qualifying run, a good solid run tonight. So I think I'm okay, but, you know, I'm a racer that has a lot of experience, so I don't want to talk too good about what I'm doing and let it jinx me.
Gray hair starting to show through a little bit, too.
I'm not dyeing my hair no more. It's gray, and that's the way it is, right, Dave?
Hey, Kenny Wall's been doing really good all year. Even though I just started back last week, I watched him at Phoenix, Vegas, and he's done very good. And I'm pretty proud of Kenny because he's gone through a lot these last couple of years, and he deserves that ride.
When I looked at practice today, I saw the 70 in the top 10. Was that realistic?
Yeah, we have a lot there we got to build on. We're building a notebook. Last week, we had an okay finish, 20th, but I think it's a lot better than that. I think we can run probably 12th or better tonight. You know, we got to set small goals and really achieve them. And like I said, we got to build a notebook. But those guys at ML Motorsports are doing a great job. They got really good equipment, and feel like we can be very competitive in it.
One step at a time. 2 guys to keep your eye on tonight here at Richmond.
Thanks, Ray. Joe Nemechek on the racetrack. He's had success at this track before.
Cat on the racetrack right before him, Rick. Paul Menard is your new pole sitter. 21.71, a full 10th of a second quicker than anybody's run all day today.
By the way, I think Kenny Wallace should say he hit the refresh button.
Yeah, when he said
he didn't never really go anywhere.
Yeah,
but he is
comeback.
He is refreshed, I must say.
Yeah, rejuvenated.
And he's a little refreshing sometimes.
He is refreshing. Joe Nemechek won this race back in 1994.
Kenny Wallace won it in 94, 95, and 96. What about that?
Very impressive.
Nemechek up to second spot. Great run for Joe, 21.856, still about a 10th and a half slower than Paul Menard. He's got a bit of a gap over the whole field.
Paul has been doing a great job, and I think part of his success is because he runs these races as well as, and I think it helps him with his cup car.
More seat time. Everyone talks about if you can get on that track and have more seat time, you just learn more.
We're getting into some cars that were right around that top 10 in practice speeds now, and this is a guy that was really fun to watch earlier today, Mike Bliss. 22.23 on his first lap. He gets those couple of tenths that we talk about, Darrell. He can go in the top 5.
Bliss 9th on his first lap. Hovering right around the top 2 spots. We'll see how he does coming out of turn number 4 on lap 2. Can he unseat Paul Menard? No, but he moves Joe Nemechek down 1 spot. Mike Bliss moves up to second now behind Paul Menard.
Just keep that in mind. He picked up almost 4 tenths on that second lap, so anybody within a half second of the pole on their first lap has a shot.
Well, now just remember, we said a second ago, we're getting a little cloud cover over those first 2 guys go out, so wow, maybe it is making a difference.
Steve Wallace on the racetrack now. Steve's best start came last year in the first race, the spring race, where he started 19th, finished 17th. His best finish here was 5th back in 2008.
His car owner was quite good at this racetrack. I think 6 times Rusty Wallace pulled into victory lane, so I know Rusty has high expectations for his team tonight. David Rudeman drove a car over at Nashville last week for this team just to sort of help them evaluate where they are.
You know what I like? When Stephen Wallace ran the Daytona 500, I really thought a lot of people were skeptical about him being in the 500. He did a great job. And I think Rusty has aspirations, and not too long from now, of moving on up a little bit.
Well, I think every father has aspirations for their son to excel at the highest level possible.
I think that was evident, no more evident than it was last night, Rick, here in Denny Hamlin's race. Bill Elliott and his son were both in the race. Steve Grissom, former Nationwide Series champion, his son was in the race. Larry McReynolds, like you said, so sure is fun to see that this is still a family sport, just like it was when I got into it back in the 80s because of you being in it so long.
Those guys didn't even have kids when I raced with them, so it makes me feel really, really old.
Leffler on the track, first lap, 10th quick.
Woo, he's fighting that thing up off 4.
Second lap moves him up to 6th quick. 21.961 for Jason Leffler. So Paul Menard still has the time to beat at 21.713. Still to go. Chris Buescher, Brian Scott, and Kenny Wallace.
Beaten and banging. You've never seen a NASCAR Nationwide Series race like you're going to see it on Speed.
Live from Richmond, tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Presented by Nationwide. Brought to you exclusively on Speed.
Nature is unique, pure, and also delicious. Like Nature Valley, granola bars made with crunchy oats and pure honey. Nature Valley, 100% natural, 100% delicious.
Do you have something for pain? Oh, Bear aspirin. I'm not having a heart attack. It's my back.
It works great for pain.
Nothing's proven to relieve pain better than extra-strength Bear aspirin. It rushes relief to the site of pain.
Feel better?
Yeah, thanks for the tip.
Hi, I'm Montel Williams from Monday.
The commissioner is about to get this party started on NFL Network.
Okay, football fans, here we go. Welcome to the NFL Draft.
The 2011 NFL Draft begins Thursday, April 28th, live and in primetime. NFL Network. You want the NFL? Go to the NFL.
Nissan, innovation you can count on. Innovation for all. For great deals on reliable sedans, crossovers, trucks, and SUVs, visit choosenissan.com or your Bay Area Nissan dealer today.
We are the face of Comcast.
I'm a perfectionist. At least I try to be.
At Comcast, we solve problems.
If we don't resolve the problem the first time,
we'll extend a courtesy service to our customers.
You're a customer, you deserve it.
If you're a new customer and you're not satisfied with our services,
you can get your money back in the first 30 days.
It's a phenomenal thing to offer to our customers.
We're only as good as our word. And our word is good.
Whether it's getting you a $20 credit if we're late or 30 days to try us out, at Comcast, we're all about the customer, and that's always guaranteed.
NASCAR Nationwide Series qualifying from Richmond is brought to you in high definition by Funai. Funai, fun and innovative. Experience more at FunaiAmerica.com. And by Power Sharp. Power Sharp sharpens your saw chain in seconds. Visit PowerSharp.com for $10 off. Here's Chris Buescher on the racetrack again, subbing for Trevor Bayne. Trevor Bayne is hospitalized, and they were doing tests on him. Trying to figure out what's ailing him right now.
Yeah, we've texted back and forth and talked to Trevor today. He's in great spirits, wants to say thank you to all the fans for all their well wishes, and we certainly hope it's just a brief time before Trevor's right back here with us.
You know, I said this earlier in the practice show, but Trevor told me, he said, you know, I knew winning the Daytona 500 was a big deal in the racing community. It's a big deal in the whole wide world. Right. He said he couldn't believe the people that have rallied around him, thoughts and prayers and everything else.
Hermie Sadler.
Paul Menard, so far, when you put your Nationwide Series schedule together with Kevin Harvick, you picked this race, you wanted to be here. So far, looks like a pretty good move, P1.
Yeah, it's a track I've struggled at, frankly, in the past, and figure laps are laps, and it's always a good thing to, you know, we'll run 250 laps tonight. We'll learn a lot for tomorrow, but, you know, Hyder and the guys do a hell of a job here. And we didn't do a mock run. I had no idea what to expect, and we nailed it. I'm not sure if, you know, it's probably not going to hold up for the pole, but it'll be a good start, and we have a really good race car.
Well, so far, right now, P2, Brian Scott, good run for him also, Ray.
Down on my end, I'm standing by with Brad Keselowski. This guy has 4 consecutive top 5 finishes, including a win. So what's your vibe for tonight here in Richmond?
Well, first is make sure the camera guy doesn't get run over. That was close, but you know, I think you got to start well, and that's why qualifying is so important. You got to get that good pit stall. You can pass here at Richmond, so the actual starting spot's really not that big in a nationwide race, but you want to have that pit stall for the end. This race always seems to come down at last pit stop, and that's really important. So we got a cloud out right now. I'm hoping I can get in the car really quick and kind of take advantage of that, but we've been pretty good here. Had good cars here at Penske Racing, and you know, showed last year winning the first race, finished second in the next one, and we're ready to see if we can do it again with our discount tire Dodge Challenger.
All right, he was in the top 5 in practice. We'll see where he comes out in qualifying.
Thanks, Ray. Kenny Wallace just finishing up his qualifying run.
All the way up to 3rd spot for Kenny Wallace. Great run.
Very nice. The car looks so good. Really good in 3 and 4. He could really roll the center in 3 and 4 fast.
Top 3 separated by 11/100ths of a second.
What about that lap by Brian Scott? Almost a 10th of a second over the whole field. Great run for Brian Scott. He was really confident when we talked to him in our practice show about that car and what he was doing. And you know, he did something I think was really smart. Said he was leaning heavily on Denny Hamlin. If you want to ask somebody how to get around Richmond in these cars these days, that's the guy I want to go find.
This is Denny Hamlin's backyard. Justin Allgaier on the racetrack and currently your point leader in the NASCAR Nationwide Series.
Justin Allgaier, last guy to win. He won at Bristol last year.
39 races ago since a nationwide regular has won. And like you said, Darrell, that was this young man.
I really think, though, I love the shorter tracks. I think a track like this, really leans more toward the driver. Not so much toward the car, but the driver. It's really a chance for you to showcase what you can do.
You guys talked about how good of a lap Brian Scott posted. Let's hear from him. He's with Herbie.
He did have a great lap. Now you've got to sit here and watch all your competitors take shots at you. But either way, good run for you guys.
Well, it's nice to have something that puts a smile on my face. I'm battling a sore throat. I don't feel good. I just wanted to get those 2 laps over with really quickly. So hopefully I'll get us a good qualifying position. The guys brought a really good number 11 Shore Lodge Toyota here this week. So big shout out to everybody on this team here and everybody back at the shop, putting better and better cars together, and we're figuring this thing out. We're going to start chipping away with some good finishes.
Brian Scott, so far, he's at the top of the chart.
He's posted the mark. David Sturmey now on his second lap. First lap was 14th quick. Second lap, 22.026. Moves him up to 12th quick, so just below Elliott Sadler. Josh Wise right now in that 10th spot. But everyone's shooting now for Brian Scott. He's posted the mark at 21.637. The Cat in the Hat's watching.
Look outside. It's grow time. So let's plant some perennials that'll turn up every year. Trees and shrubs to give us depth. And fill it out with flowers placed in just the perfect place. Let's spend less, but plant more. What do you say we plant a weekend, water it, and watch a summer spring up? More saving, more doing. That's the power of the Home Depot. We're lowering the cost of putting down some roots. Get 1-gallon perennials 3 for just $10.
Green flag.
If you think heroes are only in movies, consider this. Over 70% of firefighters are local volunteers. These are our neighbors putting their lives on the line. And when they rely on a battery, there are firefighters everywhere who trust Duracell. And now you can join with Duracell to help. Just buy specially marked packs, and Duracell will make a battery donation to local volunteers. These days, don't we all need someone to trust? Duracell, trusted everywhere.
Somebody better keep me away from anyone after this race.
It's race time at Walmart. From official gear to snacks for race day, you'll find everything you need. Gear up, stock up, save.
That sounds like a good plan to me, Rick.
Gear up, stock up,
and save.
Eric Almirola on the racetrack now. He's geared up for his qualifying effort. His first lap, 9th quick, 21.912. Let's see how big of a pickup he can do on lap 2, all the way up to 2nd quick, still behind Brian Scott.
Nice run, big pickup from practice, 22.03 for Eric in practice, so nice pickup.
Here comes a guy everybody sort of has their eyes on because he's driving that car that Kyle Busch has had so much success in. This is Kelly Byers.
Expectations have got to be so high on Kelly Byers when he steps into a race car that has virtually won 4 races of the 8 that have been run this year.
Well, you know, here's what I always like to see. You got an opportunity, a golden opportunity. Can you capitalize on it?
And we're going to see a few of those golden opportunities tonight and see how well the kids can capitalize on those opportunities. How about Kelly, to the top of the chart? Can he stay there? He looks pretty good.
He's got a fast lap going on.
Slides back into the 4th spot. Can he pick it back up coming out of 4? He was 6th quick on his first lap. Stays about the same on lap number 2, so he'll stay in that 6th spot.
It's really popular to run in the 70s. 5 of our first 6 guys have run in the 2170 bracket. It's kind of crowded up there.
Didn't pick up much, though.
No, I was surprised at that. Looked like he had something for him. Whoa, look at Brad Kozlowski.
Way up the racetrack.
Oh, man, and guess what he's doing right there? He is up in, like, ice.
Yeah, and
you get that stuff all over your tires. That's what he's trying to do now is clean up those tires, get all the debris and rubber and dirt off of them and then try it one more time, coming to get the white. He's going to be okay.
Darrell, would he have been wise to stop that car and turn it around? He didn't have much momentum coming to the green. You can see right there
I would expect a big pickup on lap 2. What do you guys think?
I think that's a fair assessment, Rick.
And he just said down in the interview there that not so much where you start, but the pit road, the pit selection is what's critical here.
How important it is to get a good pit stall here at Richmond.
Well, he picked it up quite a lot.
Lap number 2 for Brad Keselowski, who won here a year ago in this race.
When he went down into turn 1, even after taking the white, he was still last. That means he didn't have the momentum he needed coming to the white. Watch this. Let's see if he just overshoots the turn. Yeah, it just wouldn't turn.
He just wouldn't turn.
On
the brakes, trying to get the car to stop. It almost looked like it bottomed out. Got down on the splitter maybe. Which happens to you when you're qualifying with your race setup.
Brad's got his work cut out for him now. 7th quick.
This is the guy that
27 that have been on the track.
This is the guy everybody's sort of thinking they got to beat tonight. He's the only cat in the race tonight that's won this year. He's won 2 times. No one else in the race has been able to get to victory lane. So we talked earlier about the opportunity that some of these guys have. They're going to have to beat Carl to take advantage of that opportunity.
Just don't want to be overconfident. Sometimes you underestimate your competition, it'll bite you.
How strong he was at Nashville last week, looking to go back-to-back.
Oh, yeah, that'll work.
Pretty stout.
He's up to the first spot.
Of the charts.
These are cup times that these guys are running right now.
21.592 for Carl Edwards in his qualifying effort. How about his teammate comes out next?
Darrell, I know you think this is a guy that can win the race tonight, Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Here's a guy that had an opportunity, sort of blew it, but got a second chance. That doesn't happen very often, but Jack Roush, I like what he's doing with Ricky Stenhouse.
17th quick on his first lap. We'll see if he can pick it up on lap number 2. 22.038 on lap 1. In practice, he ran a 21.916. Second lap's looking better. Doesn't look like a challenge for the pole. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. jumps up to the 8th spot on lap 2, 21.778. There's another 21.7 you were talking about.
Yeah, that must be pretty easy to do. Everybody's doing it. We've had 8 different pole sitters so far. That's the fun thing about this, the way that NASCAR has qualifying configured, where the fast guys go out last. It's really good all the way to the end. And this cat
was fast.
He's the fastest guy in town earlier today. So can he make it the 9th? You think he's going to make it the 9th different pole sitter, Darrell?
Well, he won last night, started dead last. So I guess he doesn't really care where he starts. But it'd be nice to start on the pole, get that number 1 pit selection.
Denny Hamlin had a charity event. It was a charity race here in late models. He opted to start in the back of the field, spun on lap number 1 on a big accident, and then worked his way through the field and ended up winning the race at the very end.
I thought my bro here.
Michael did a spectacular.
Those two got together going off at turn 2. I said, I'm going to take my pajamas off and head to Victory Circle.
Wait a minute. You put clothes on?
Yeah, that's what I meant.
I was hoping you'd finish that sentence. Denny Hamlin, first lap, 14th quick, 21.873.
That's a pretty good 14th quick.
I would also say that he'll pick up quite a lot because he didn't get on the gas really halfway down the back. Denny likes to shake his car around a lot before getting the green flag. He did that. That compromises that first lap, but
right up next to the wall, had to catch it coming out of 4.
I'm sure he didn't rub the wall, guys. That right rear has been up against
hit the wall.
Yeah, he's been up against it.
And hit the wall.
And I was watching the tracker. He had the pole coming off 4, and he wound up 10th. And it was just that little brush against the wall.
Got a lot of damage. See a little damage right there on the right front. Got a little damage on that right side.
Tim Hornich Jr. walking with his car still to qualify. Stay with us more here on Speed.
In 22 days.
Have you ever?
No, I have never. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race live on Speed.
You ready? Ready? Green flag, green.
Wonder where the Durango's been for the last 2 years? It toured around Europe getting handling and steering lessons on those sporty European roads. It went back to school, got an advanced degree in technology. It's been working out, more muscle and less fat. It's done more in 2 years than most cars do in a lifetime.
Now lease the all-new 2011 Dodge Durango all-wheel drive Express for $359 a month for well-qualified lessees.
Hire Monta Williams for money.
Why don't others give you a choice in zero-turn riders? Lap bars or a real steering wheel that controls all four wheels? So it's easy to get the perfect cut no matter where you cut. Maybe others don't do it because they can't. Introducing the Cub Cadet Z-Force S. You've never seen anything like it because there's never been anything like it. Find exceptional financing options, including 0% on the full line during Cub Cadet days.
We are the face of Comcast.
I'm a perfectionist. At least I try to be.
At Comcast, we solve problems.
If we don't resolve the problem the first time,
We'll extend a courtesy service to our customers.
you're a customer, you deserve it.
If you're a new customer and you're not satisfied with our services,
You can get your money back in the first 30 days.
It's a phenomenal thing to offer to our customers.
we're only as good as our word. And our word is good.
Whether it's giving you a $20 credit if we're late or 30 days to try us out, at Comcast, we're all about the customer, and that's always guaranteed.
Tomorrow, NASCAR Race Day rocks and rolls in Richmond. Clint Boyer, Casey Kane, and NASCAR President Mike Helton will join us live. Plus, Kyle Busch discusses his recent dominance of the spring race at Richmond International Raceway. That's NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot. Tomorrow, 5 Eastern, live right here on the Speed.
Hey, Rick, Michael and I were just watching Denny Hamlin go by here. You know, he started last night and won. I don't know how much damage is on that right side, but it looked like they may have to work on that.
Yeah.
Which, if they do have to work on it, you know that where he's going to start tonight.
We talked about it being an impound race. You can't make major adjustments to a race car after qualifying.
See him come off turn 4. So easy to get up a little too high right here.
Oh, he just got in those marbles.
Oh, yeah. And you got to stay in the gas. You got to keep after because you're on a qualifying run. And he slid that thing in there pretty good.
You know, we talked to him in practice earlier today. He said, I guess I'm just not paying as close attention as normal because I hit it in my Cup car and I hit it in my Nationwide car. And I'll be darned, he hit it again.
Let's go down to Ray Dunlap.
One, two. Okay, my mic is open now, so we want to talk to Sam Hornish. You know, when I look at your stats, a couple of top 10s in the Cup races here. Is that why you decided to come back and play at Richmond?
I don't know. I've always liked Richmond. Won a couple IndyCar races here. Got 2 top 10s here in the Cup Series. It's a fun track because you got that short track racing, but also you get out a chance to go out there on the line. There's kind of some rooms to make some passes if your car's not quite perfect and to be able to move around. So just a fun place to be able to bring our PPG Dodge out to.
Pretty good car, and I want to nominate it for best paint scheme of the night tonight. Now let's hear from the fastest guy so far. He's standing by with Hermie.
Well, Carl Edwards is at the top of the chart, and you said it. This is a fast car, but Denny Hamlin looked like he may be a threat for P1 and got into the wall off turn 4, and you got a theory on that.
Yeah, they're going to get to go back and work on that thing, change some springs and do it, make some updates on it, but I don't think he did that on purpose. I think that this is going to be a really competitive race. His car was real fast. Our Ford Mustang's fast, and we got fast and all back this week, and hopefully this will hold up for the pole. There's a lot of pride in that. We didn't make a qualifying run in practice. Mike Beam and the guys did great. It's just another fast Mustang, so we'll go race tonight, and I'll be watching the mirror. I'm sure Denny will be coming.
Why is it all race car drivers always think other race car drivers got other motives? DW?
And why did he throw it to you?
Because I've done that before.
Well, Denny didn't do that. He was going for the pole and ran out of room.
Matt Carter on the racetrack for his qualifying effort, 22.891 first lap. Has him slotted 32nd of the 34 that have been on the track. Again, we have 41 cars here making the qualifying effort today. So all will be locked into the race. Now it's just a matter of starting position.
Guys used to say, Hammond and me, say, you don't like this car, just run it into the wall. I said, wait a minute. Every time I run into the wall, it hurts. I said, I think I'll work on the car, not me.
Yeah. Matt Carter goes to 29th quick on lap number 2 at 22.554. So will Carl Edwards' time hold up? Stay with us.
As a fan of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series, I want to get as close to the action as I can get. One way to do that is to use the NASCAR Sprint Cup mobile app for my HTC Evo 4G. Another way is to hide in the back of Carl Edwards' car. Yeah, Carl! Whoa, we're getting ramped!
Fuel your fan with NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile on the HTC Evo 4G. Only from Sprint, the Now Network.
This is not as safe as I initially planned. Yeah.
Hi, can I borrow some milk?
Yeah, just a second.
Just for Men. In 5 easy minutes, targets only the gray.
Anything else?
Pancakes?
Just for Men. Live forward.
Only Polaris delivers the ultimate combination of power, suspension, and agility. The only trail-capable side-by-side, Ranger RZR. The only sport performance side-by-side, RZR S. The only 4-seat sport, RZR 4. And the only extreme performance side-by-side, the 88-horsepower RZR XP. Razor-sharp performance only from Polaris. Huge rebates and low financing are available right now during the Polaris XP sales event.
Energizer Ultimate Lithium lasts up to 8 times longer versus Energizer Max, which means up to 8 times less waste. Energizer Ultimate Lithium. Now that's positive energy. Get a $10 reward and explore America's national parks when you collect 3 codes from Mark packs of Energizer products.
Don't miss a minute of the action from Richmond with the Speed Nationwide Race Buddy. Watch multiple camera angles, listen on in all the action, and connect with other fans through chat and social networks. Log on to speed.com or NASCAR.com.
Daryl, I like that paint job right there.
You know why?
Why?
Because it reminds me of old school right there, brother. You know who used to...
That's Jimmy Means,
yeah,
right?
it's Jimmy Means' car, and we all used to paint our cars orange and white and put those blue numbers on there like that. I had a number 48 that way, and I raced at Nashville. Jimmy had a car like that. It's kind of cool. I like the stripe. Dale Jr. ran a car like this a couple of times.
You remember we were talking about the tornadoes that just ravished the southeast. A lot of that damage was done down in Alabama, right around where Jimmy Means is from. So hope everything's well with Jimmy's family.
Yeah, a number of racers are from that Pleasant Grove, Alabama area. Jimmy, I remember Paddlefoot Wheels, Alton Jones. Yeah, there's a number of those guys that were from that area.
NASCAR.com/unites to help out. Those of you that can, please do. Help out those affected by the recent disasters.
Johnny Chapman, he's a cat from Taylorsville, North Carolina. Been racing with Johnny my whole life. Good kid, loves racing, works hard on the cars to get an opportunity to drive every now and then, and that's what he's doing right now.
Sound like he had a little wheel hop getting in that corner over there, like the back tires were chattering a tad.
Now that'll get your attention.
It will. Usually it results in trouble.
John Chapman 30th quick in his qualifying run, 22.662. His best start, 21st.
What kind of car is that, Rick?
That's a Ford.
It's a Mustang.
Yeah,
look at that.
Those.
I mean,
I like the door handles.
I know. It's so cool.
Here's another retro paint scheme.
Morgan Shepherd on the racetrack now.
I think he won his first Cup race when I was 4. And
I think you're right.
He 4 in 1983. Oh no, first Cup race. I'm sorry, I thought you were talking about here.
I was not 4 in 1983.
No. I believe you were born 48 years tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
They done
we're going to get Krista to give him a cake.
Hey, Daryl.
Yeah, right.
Do you remember back when Morgan ran the old 55 Chevy? He just dominated in that orange car. That's what this is, a throwback paint scheme. And I was talking to Michael about it today, and he said I'm too old or too young to remember that, but I figured you would.
Oh, yeah. I used to. You know the thing about Morgan Shepherd, and he still does a little bit today. You never knew what car he was going to drive from one week to the next. He ran for a national championship one year, and I think he drove like 10 or 12 different race cars that
Sounds
year.
Like Mike Bliss.
Just jump from one to another.
Yeah. And look how the man he's still got it. 22.41, 27th fastest. I mean, that's a great accomplishment. He built the engine himself, I'm sure.
One of the most exciting nights in all of motorsports.
It's a good night to get even with somebody. The NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race, Saturday, May 21st, 7 p.m. Eastern, only on Speed.
뭐 도와드릴까요?
Do you have something for pain? Oh, Bear aspirin. Oh, no. I'm not having a heart attack. It's my back.
Trust me, it works great for pain.
Nothing's proven to relieve pain better than extra-strength Bear aspirin. It rushes relief to the site of pain, no matter where you're hurting.
Feel better?
Yeah, thanks for the tip.
For powerful pain relief, use Bear aspirin.
Did you know Prilosec OTC can stop frequent heartburn before it begins? Heartburn happens when stomach acid refluxes into the esophagus. Prilosec OTC uses a unique delayed release system that protects the medicine as it passes through the stomach's tough acid. Then it gets absorbed into the body, turning off many acid-producing pumps at the source. With just one pill a day, you get 24-hour heartburn protection, all day and all night. Prilosec OTC. Heartburn gone, power on.
Hey, Kurt, it's Kyle. Hey, you got a minute?
Not really. Kind of busy.
You have got to check out the new NASCAR.com race view. I mean, these new virtual graphics make my car look almost real. Did you know fans can customize this to follow me all race long and listen to my in-car audio? And now my fans can even watch you try to keep up with me in the new head-to-head view. I mean, how cool is that?
Check out the brand new and dramatically improved race view, only at NASCAR.com.
Kurt, hey, Kurt.
Speed presentation of NASCAR Nationwide qualifying from Richmond is brought to you by Just for Men Hair Color. Live forward. Cars winding down for our NASCAR Nationwide qualifying session. Robert Richardson coming off the racetrack. He was 27th quick in his qualifying effort. Jeff Green, Tim Andrews, and Sam Hornish Jr. still to take on the action track. Jeff Green, a champion of this series.
2000 champion out of Owensboro, Kentucky.
We all Michael grew up more with the Green brothers than I did. David and I are close to the same age. I think David's in his 50s, I believe. Bunch of great kids. We used to race go-karts together.
So you're in your 50s?
No.
I knew that question was coming.
If I were...
You were closest in age.
I'd be out there.
In his 50s. That was a nice move.
I'd be out there racing with Morgan Shepherd.
Morgan is 69 years old. You know that.
I do know that.
Yeah. Jeff Green, 26th quick in his qualifying effort. Tim Andrews and Sam Hornish Jr. still to go.
Give a shout out to the people in Owensboro. They've been, the floods there have just devastated that town. The weather all over the central southeastern part of the country has been a mess. And I know there's a lot of people in Owensboro that have been flooded out of their homes. So
yeah, it's up there, and the work they're doing on the riverfront is amazing. The executive inn is gone now, and they got a great plan for a youth convention center and all kinds of things going on in the Big O.
Problems here for Tim Andrews. Slows down on his second lap, now trying to pick it back up. Got a little out of shape there on lap number 2.
Another real cool paint scheme, I think.
Skunk stripes. Is that what you call those when they're over the car like that? I think it is.
I liked racing stripes. 22.505 for Tim Andrews on lap number 2. We talked about fathers and sons. Tim Andrews.
Yeah.
Paul Andrews.
And also Matt Carter and his dad, Travis Carter. Travis, a legendary crew chief.
Now Sam Hornish Jr. on the racetrack for his qualifying effort. He is the final car to take time here at Richmond International Raceway for tonight's nationwide race.
And I like what Ray said. That is a good-looking paint job.
That is. And Sam Hornish Jr., of course, his dad, Sam Hornish.
I know. You're all over it, Michael. We can't slip anything past you. How about this, though? Take a look. Potentially a top 3 starting spot for Sam Hornish Jr. Could he challenge Edwards for the pole? Up
He's
to
digging.
second, maybe.
He's digging.
Cross the stripe. And he goes to second. Sam Hornish Jr., second quick.
Well, he said he liked this joint. He won a couple of IRL races here, so that's a nice run.
Guys, how about the parity right now? Ford, Dodge, Toyota, Chevy, your top 4.
And look at the times, Rick. 21.59, 21.62, 21.63, just hundredths of a second separating our first 3 cars.
If you're going to keep looking, look at the points.
Yeah, 7 points
guys.
separate 7 drivers.
What a series.
Yeah, it's spectacular. So Carl Edwards will claim his 25th NASCAR nationwide pole in his 220th start. At 25 poles, ranks 3rd all time Justin Allgaier just got out of the race car after qualifying. He's over signing autographs, some of the fans in the infield. We'll be back to talk with our pole sitter just after these messages.
Beaten and banging. Oh, under the lights, baby.
It's the Nationwide race, live from Richmond.
DW, this is a big deal. I know, brother. That's why we're doing it.
You've never seen a NASCAR Nationwide Series race like you're gonna see it on Speed.
It's a rough and tumble brawl under the lights, brought to you by the network who loves racing most.
It's gonna be fun. Don't miss it.
Live from Richmond, tonight, 7:30 Eastern. Presented by Nationwide, brought to you exclusively on Speed.
Bell helmets, mongoose elbow pads, a pillow pet, and cotton balls.
You're doing great. Guys, come on. She's not that bad of a driver.
Only Walmart has low prices every day on everything you need, backed by our ad match guarantee. Save money, live better. Walmart.
Hi, I'm Otto Williams from Money.
Bill Brandt Ford in Brentwood is tough on the competition. We offer great prices, great service, and customer satisfaction that's tough to beat. And if the thought of driving a truck makes your heart pound, you gotta visit Bill Brandt Ford in Brentwood for the Ford F-Series, the best-selling brand of trucks in America for 34 straight years. Right now, save more on the Ford F-150. Get 0% financing for 60 months, plus another $1,000 toward your trade-in on top of what it's worth. Come experience Bill Brandt Tough for yourself. Bill Brandt Ford in Brentwood.
We are the face of Comcast.
I'm a perfectionist. At least I try to be.
At Comcast, we solve problems.
If we don't resolve the problem the first time,
we'll extend a courtesy service to our customers.
You're a customer, you deserve it.
If you're a new customer and you're not satisfied with our services,
you can get your money back in the first 30 days.
It's a phenomenal thing to offer to our customers.
We're only as good as our word. And our word is good.
Whether it's giving you a $20 credit if we're late or 30 days to try us out, at Comcast, we're all about the customer, and that's always guaranteed.
Telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
NASCAR Nationwide Series 250 qualifying just wrapping up here on Speed from Richmond International Raceway. It was Carl Edwards that was fastest in qualifying, 21.592. Here's your front row. Sam Hornish Jr. will start on his outside, and that is his best career start in the NASCAR Nationwide Series, so it should be an interesting green flag at the start of this race. Let's hear from our pole sitter. He is with Ray.
Yes, we are down in Victory Lane where Carl Edwards has taken some photos to get your 4th pole of the season. Congratulations on that. But my big question for you is, you don't get points, you can't win this championship. Why go after every single nationwide race this season?
Did you watch the race last week? I mean, it's a blast. It's fun. And this Fastenal team is good right now. Mike Beam's doing a great job. The FR9 engine's good. And to get in these Ford Mustangs and be able to go this fast that's every racer's dream, to be able to race at this level and do it. So I'm enjoying it. This is my 7th full-time season. I committed to doing this before they told us that we couldn't run for points, so I'm in it, and we're just going to keep digging, and we're having a good time.
I know you've got quite a collection of guitars. We enjoyed Victory Lane with you last week in Nashville, but I read about a fact that you're going to be auctioning that off for charity.
Yeah, thanks for asking me about that. The Gibson guitar that Sam Bass painted, the trophy at Nashville, is online right now at an auction at NASCAR.com Superstore. So you can go to my Facebook page. I don't exactly know how to get there, but go to my Facebook page and there's a link, or you can go to NASCAR.com and go to auctions under the Superstore, and the proceeds will go 100% to a young man's family that passed away. He worked at our shop, he built some great race cars, and we're trying to help out his family.
I'm going to bid, that's for sure. Carl Edwards with his 4th pole of the season. Now let's check back in with Hermie Sadler.
Yeah, thanks, Reagan. The driver who will be sharing the front row with Carl Edwards tonight. Sam Hornish, your best ever qualifying effort in this Nationwide Series. Good starting spot. Can you turn this into a victory tonight?
I don't know. We did a couple tests over the last couple weeks over at Gresham, and I felt pretty good about the car. And did a couple interviews coming into this weekend, and everybody asked me, how do you feel about it? I said, I'd be disappointed if we don't get a top 5 out of it. So that's my goal for tonight, is to come in here to try to get a top 5 out of it. We qualified really, really well with the PPG Dodge, and practice today didn't go so well. We started off okay, we got lost in the middle, and then we felt like we got better towards the end and had to make some changes in between practice and qualifying. So I got out there and started qualifying. I'm like, when I got done with my lap, I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure, because it felt slow. but must have been that the car was that good. I didn't have to overdrive it at all, so I was real happy with that.
Well, Sam Hornish got a good start, looking for his first career top 10 in the Nationwide Series.
Next time we want to take a look at the point standings through 8 races. Justin Allgaier and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. tied at the top. And how about the fact we've got 7 guys within 7 points in the points race?
I just like the new point system. I like the way it's working. I like the way NASCAR got everything out of this new point system they were looking for.
1, 3, and 5 right now, all out of the Turner Motorsports stables. And earlier this week, I had a chance to go and chat with those guys about Steve Turner and how this organization, as a startup organization, is making it this year.
A lot of things have changed. The off-season was a huge change, going from Toyota to Chevrolet and building all these new race cars, and the way things are done is all different than it used to be. But the guys that work here have worked together for a long time.
To be able to walk in here and see the quality of product they're putting on the racetrack every week has been awesome. You know, Hendrick Power under the hood, you know, obviously they're as strong of an organization as you can get, and to be able to get engines and help from them has been huge. So I think we've got the pieces of the puzzle. We just got to figure out how to put them all together.
Last year we had a lot of DNFs, and most of it was due to mechanical failures, you know.
Big smoker on the front straightaway. It's Jason Leffler. Oh, goodness. 2 to go.
A lot of the parts and pieces got to their end of their lifespan, and they just break.
He's got a hard battle with the points here, Jason Leffler. He's got to be really smart here.
As Jason Leffler says, it's all about survival.
We're actually in some ways running smoother than we thought, and to be sitting in third, only 2 points out of leads, it is surprising in some ways it's not. You know, with the equipment and everything, and the people we have here, we expect to be around this, right around this area here in the point standings.
Logano on Reed Sorensen's back bumper. They want the lead. They're going to get the lead. Sorensen to the point.
We did lead the points for a couple weeks and had a setback or two that put us back a little bit. So I guess being 4 points out and having as much potential as we do feels pretty good.
You know, I think when we started out, like you said, we all wanted to win. But I think we all wanted to win races just as badly. And I think that the part of getting to here to now, I think the farther we go and the closer we are staying towards the front or hopefully leading, the easier that reality is going to become.
Jason Leffler gets turned on the back straightaway. A glancing blow from Justin Allgaier. Also now Reed Sorensen, James Buescher.
We're all pushing each other. We're all, you know, racing hard against each other. I think that sometimes we probably race each other too hard.
Being able to lean on each other, I guess you could say, and all of our experiences together, I think is kind of the foundation of this whole team, and being able to try to get this new car that we're trying to figure out, you know, getting it going.
We got a great foundation, and I think everybody's proud to be a part of this program. You know, great clips, all our sponsors.